To start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel.
Unplug that.
With a great escape we went to the Euphrates.
I don't need this.
The Lord held the waters still. To a land where no mankind dwelt.
We went.
The 12 tribes of Israel.
Reflecting diverse places. Hit that like button. Hit that like button.
The Lord is calling back Israel. Ooh. Our highest gathering Israel.
Nah. Is that working?
Yeah, it keeps.
Make sure you put the back in.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it.
By the rivers of Babylon, we found our brothers here. Whoa.
One second, folks.
Okay. Skype. Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we see.
Maybe that's why you hear that noise because it wasn't in time.
Yeah.
Oh, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the house of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. North American Indians, our highest gathering Israel.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church. I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all can hear us fine here. I had to turn that down a little bit. There was a little noise in there. Let me make sure you all can hear us fine before we begin the actual broadcast. Can you all hear us well? Yes? Hope you all can hear us well. Now, if you'd like to call in and chime in on this particular broadcast, of course, it's 515-605-9327. That's 515-605-9327. I just got off the phone with the brother from Puerto Rico. Sorry I'm a little late, but there's a lot going on right now in prophecy, and we're here to help prepare God's nation, the children of Israel, to the Israelites, to the Jews first, and also to the Gentiles. All praises be to the Most High. Okay, hit that like button up. We're going to start going. We're going to really begin the broadcast around 700. So the quicker you hit the like button, the quicker we get that that watching number up to trend this particular broadcast, this primetime broadcast. I'm Elder Rawchaa here with Elder Lawya, and we have a deep lesson today, or conversation, I would like to say. We more so do the lessons on the Sabbath, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Gaja, I know he's probably traveling, whatever he's doing. We're here. If you text me, Gaja, I'll make sure I bring you in. 515-6059-327. That's the number to call in to talk with us today. And our topic of discussion, and I hope you all can chime in, is the topic is titled here, and you can give me your opinion: a nation without a spiritual foundation. Okay? A nation without a spiritual foundation is our topic today. And we're going to start off with the what I would call the Gentile infiltration religiously of our communities. We're going to talk about that today. But it would be amiss if I didn't first go into a few things. So make sure you, as far as what's happening right now in prophecy. So I need you to do me a favor. Hit that like button so it can trend. And this way we'll get those likes up and get this thing going. 515-6059-327. A nation without a spiritual foundation. What do you think about that, Elder Lawya?
Hey, I mean, what a topic, especially for this time period. As we're going into this time of prophecy and all the signs and all the things we've been speaking about for years are taking place.
Yeah.
A lot of questions are coming up as far as how do we prepare for this time. And usually when we think of preparation, we think of just the physical aspect of preparation. But I believe conversations like this about the spiritual nature of what has been plaguing us and the things that continue to be a thorn in our community, a thorn in the side of our community.
Yeah.
By having these conversations, it kind of give us insight of the other aspect of preparation we need to do within our communities, within ourselves,
exactly,
so on and so forth.
Because keep in mind, it's not as if, I don't think our people actually took heed to the infiltration. To us, it's normal just to have any old people with any religion peddling their beliefs within our communities, not realizing the generational hurt or pain that can cause, or destruction that can cause to a particular nation of people. And I'm going to give some examples that I have going abroad and you have going abroad.
Yes, yes.
How it's almost impossible to speak against the foundation of someone's religious beliefs within a country.
Yeah.
Without going before almost a firing squad. Like, why is it that when it comes to our people, we're live, let live, we're liberal, we're all open to allow just any religion, not understanding its divisive impact? So I don't think we even thought of it from that degree. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today, to actually have people look into things they've never really thought was important concerning our liberation and our current state. Certain things we didn't think were actually harming us and have been overlooking, such as letting anyone, no matter what they believe, come amongst us and teach of other gods. We never really understood the harmful effects that would have on us as a community. And today, we definitely going to talk about those Mormons today. We're going to get into those Mormons today, all right? And I'm going to show you the double standard that's out there when it comes to the Mormon religion, the Book of Mormons, what they really believe. And I'm going into that because not too long ago, I think about 8-9 years ago, we did something on the Jehovah's Witnesses. But we've been letting those Mormon Satanists off almost scot-free with that satanic book they have, the Book of Mormons. Now, some people might get offended if I say that, Well, it's satanic as far as I'm concerned, based on the filthy racism that's within that, calculating racism. And I'm going to show you how it was calculated against our people. That's within the Book of Mormons. You know we're going to talk about that tonight. I mean, we have a knowledge-packed broadcast for you today. So make sure you hit that like button. We're coming right back, jumping right in on a nation without a spiritual foundation. Hold tight.
Employed that he used to read
the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out here anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. And that's right, brothers and sisters. You are invited. Go to historytimes.org, gatheringofchrist.org, or send an email to gatheringat's1, the number 1 at AOL.com to be a part of this academy, man. We just went into the split between Israel and Judah, the historical implications, the impact of those particular lessons of our people, not just scattered here in North, Central, and South America, but we even delved into the Chinese diaspora.
Yes.
Everyone know about Africa. But no one understands that the gospel was given to Paul to actually go to those 10 tribes that were scattered outside Judea, like in Corinth, like in Galatia, like in different places outside of Judea, actually. And that they were actually the 10 tribes that Paul was going to initially, while also teaching the natural Gentiles. So he was teaching both. And we went into that to show you that you cannot always judge according to the outward appearance, because Hosea 8:8, Hosea 9:17 goes into Israel being scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and that they would mix themselves with the nations to a degree in which they would become unrecognizable to the Judeans, to Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and would be considered at the end times almost two separate nations, and that Christ would bring those two sticks together, Judah and Ephraim. And speaking of Ephraim real quick, I spoke to my brother in Puerto Rico, Kazakh Barawak. I was on the phone with him and he's in good spirits. And of course, I was asking the brother what's going on in Puerto Rico. There's a lot of seismic activity and earthquakes that's not actually being reported on. I'm talking about some serious earthquakes almost every other day, every 3 days. He says tremors going on in his area, but about 50 to 100 miles from him, they're catching it. And these earthquakes has been happening ever since they found the oil in the water outside of Puerto Rico, and they have been drilling there. And we told people when they're fracking for natural gas, when all that they be hitting tectonic plates and all that, they be hitting the fault lines, which are causing tremors, excuse me. Now, he says right now he's pretty safe because they experienced the tough ones, about 6.9 in his area, but thank the Most High, he was living in a mountainous region. Right now, he said he's speaking to the family. We're rallying together and saying, well, listen, There is other countries that we have to talk about going into. Brazil, we're going into Costa Rica, Panama, and these other areas, Mexico. And being that he's been a pillar for the Spanish, or what you would call the Ephraim or the Latin ministry within the Gathering of Christ Church, what we've said, well, listen, he's paid his dues. We're going to work together where if they need to relocate while dealing with the ministry, we'll do so, or do it simultaneously. Deal with the preparation of what might happen there at the same time. The church there, the people, the members of the church in Puerto Rico, we need to find other living arrangements for what's going on, because we as a church are reporting on what the news does not. Okay,
Yes,
we're up on this right now, and all praises be to the Most High. Let me show you something real quick that y'all probably didn't know, and hopefully Shapat and us. The news was off, man. The news was incredible in the academy, but I digress. But let me pull this up. I just spoke with the brother. He says, listen, Elder, whatever you need. He was so glad to hear. He's like, man, I'm so glad to hear from you, because I was praying, what should I do? And out of nowhere, you called. And he says, you know, my wife, my family, he says, we have about an acre here where my parents live on the same property as us. So if we have to sell and do whatever and parlay that into money in another location, because I'm going to tell you, and I don't mean to throw out, this isn't fear-mongering here. There's some scenarios out there where they're saying that if they keep drilling, and he says they're continually drilling there, like they're drilling right now in Puerto Rico, eventually they fear that a large majority of that country will fall into the water. And it also links in what we were talking about in Revelations 16.
Yeah.
Where it talks about Babylon being broken in 3 places. And when you look at the Pentagon map they have post-earthquake, the big one, they show America broken in 3 parts, and almost none of Puerto Rico is left outside of the mountainous terrains. So we talked about this, I mean, how many years ago? This is Bible prophecy, folks. And no one is actually talking about it. And I wanted to talk about that first because, you know, that's the pressing prophecy. And what's deep about that as a sign, this is one of the signs Christ gave us to look for concerning his coming. These are the signs so that when we see these things, no matter what we're dealing with in the flesh, whatever, we begin to get ourselves in preparation for him, understanding these signs. So the Most High, it says, Jacob seeketh a sign. So the news is not really reporting on this like that, so that we as a people don't understand the urgency of getting prepared for Christ's return. Right? So let me share it with you, since the news is seldom talking about this at all. But if you want to know what Freeway Ricky Ross is doing with his marijuana dispenser business, after they done locked him up and all that. If you want to know what's going on with the guy that took his name, is now a rapper by the name of Rick Ross, you'll get that. If you want to know what's happening, who scored, you know. And I'm a guy, you know, I like entertainment. I like a few games. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, why promote all of this and not show the people, give it some levity? Give us some news instead of distractions concerning what's really going on in the earth. But of course, I digress. Let me pull this up real quick. I think I put this up under Earth, right? Yeah, Earth. Yeah. On the screen, right? This is ABC News. Now, you'll rarely hear this on your news program, okay? They'll have some type of, late night comedian show going on late night, but you'll never hear them talk about this. A 4.5 magnitude earthquake shakes southern Kansas. Did you all know that was happening? And folks, don't buy into the lie they claiming that they must frack or drill under your area for natural gas because the earth is running out of oil resources. That's artificial scarcity. It's a lie. It's a way in which they can cause emergency that would lead to military and others coming in, the foreign troops coming in to help for emergency aid by causing these issues, okay? Now, never believe that, because they said they found enough untapped oil, black crude in Alaska, that could fuel the whole earth for the next 1,000 years. Untapped in Alaska right now, where no people is actually living on it. They don't have to worry about people having tremors and all that. What happens? Let me ask you. If you, just hypothetically, I'm going to show you how gravity works, how common sense works. If you have a house built on a rock, right? And I came under your house and began to drill a hole on that rock under your house, what will happen to your house? So you don't have to be a scientist. Listen, I don't have to understand Chinese arithmetic to know what happens if you drill on bedrock and there's land on top of it. It's called gravity. See? So if you're wondering, well, what is the area of my academia to make such broad, what they would claim as accusations? They're not accusations at all. If they're fracking or drilling under you, what's happening also is it's tainting the water. The natural water that the Most High have for us from the wells. If you start to drill, all the minerals in the earth will go into the well and taint it. You don't need a PhD for that, but I digress. Here's another one. Scientists fear volcanic eruption in the Philippines. Activity on this volcanic island, Taal, has eased, but scientists say the threat is far from over. See that? This is mainstream news right out, giving you Bible prophecy, and no one is preparing for the coming of Christ, because what? No one can relate what's going on with these so-called natural disasters with the signs written of in the Bible. Why? The majority of churches aren't teaching the Bible. How can you claim you're down with Christ and you are following Christ and been baptized through his blood and waiting for his coming, but yet being a teacher of the Bible, not speak with the prophecies Christ gave us concerning the signs of his coming? Huh? So I'm glad, we had to bring some of this information out, because a lot of people don't understand that the end is near. Okay? I mean, I hate to be the bearer of good news. And some people be like, good news? Of course. We're next. I'm not going to get all frustrated and bent out of shape and become fearful, because what? None of my emotions are going to change prophecy anyway. I have to get prepared for what's coming and get my mind ready, my spirit ready, my body ready for Jacob's trouble, because it's coming. And when it comes, we'll be prepared for it. If it be the Most High's will, he'll guide us through. Okay? So, all right, let me take this off real quick. Read the prophecy concerning Christ's coming when the disciples asked real quick. Let's read that real quick.
Yes, sir. Say Matthew chapter 24, verse number 3.
Yeah.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
What shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?
Jumping down to verse 6, it says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Just last week, a couple of weeks ago, a high military strategist of Iran was killed by the land of Israel, by the state of Israel. Of course, they said it was America. But we all know America's military is Israel's military, okay? That's what happened. Christ said that's a sign of his coming. When you see that, you must look at what you're doing personally and begin to prepare spiritually for what's to come. This is what he said would happen. He's on his way.
Mm-hmm.
Read.
See that ye be not troubled.
Read.
For all these things must come to pass.
All these things. And that's why I said, listen, no sense in panicking. It's our God through Christ who told us these things would happen. The only people who are fearful are those who aren't preparing themselves for what's to come. See? Christ said, don't be troubled during this time. Read.
For all these things must come to pass.
Yes.
But the end is not yet.
But we have time. What's next?
Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
Now, this is racial tensions. Racial tensions. And that's why I have a moth. He's pressing some shirts for me that will be finished Monday, which I will wear next week. Okay, these shirts are going to be titled, okay, Stop, in bold letters, Stop Anti-Israelitism. Stop, in bold letters, Anti-Israelite, in bold letters, ism. Stop anti-Israelitism. So if you can have anti-Semitism, hey, that's you. But the Israelite Defense League have done some research, and really, with the data that's coming in, there's been a lot of mainstream news hating on Israelites, tying them to all types of crimes that they aren't doing. So the Israelite Defense League, they all came together. The Israelite Poverty Law Center came together and decided that we need to stop anti-Israelitism. Okay, and we're going to have a t-shirt on that. And we're going to be wearing that next week. Also, next week, if you don't mind, since I'm bringing in the shirts, we're going to, you heard of MGTOW, where men are going their own way? But we have actually trademarked our own hashtag, Men Going God's Way.
That's right.
Men Going God's Way. And this particular movement works good for the men and the women.
That's right.
Okay. For the misogynists who just are all male, well, this works good for you. And the feminists who don't understand the harm that have done throughout all of society, we have something for you too, with Men Going God's Way. So stay tuned next week. Elder Gabar right now, he's dealing with he's under the weather. We're going to have that tonight, but I'm kind of glad that we're moving that particular topic to next week, because we're going to have some MGTOW guys on to come in on our radio show and let us know what is this men going their own way, and how does that way with God plan for man?
That's right.
And will this further erode our nation? A nation that have already, people talking about white people are talking about men going their own way, but they don't have the issues in the communities we have.
That's right.
Okay. The greatest issue we have is a lack of sustaining traditional marriage. But I digress. So next week, I spoke with him. He's pretty good. He's just going to get some rest, and we're going to pop in next week with Men Going God's Way. But finish reading the prophecy here for me.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew chapter 23, verse number 7.
Yes.
For nation shall rise against nation.
Nation shall rise against nation.
And kingdom against kingdom.
Kingdom against kingdom. Go on.
And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places.
Someone says, how much for one shirt? I don't know what the pricing is for this right now, but it'll be up on iamapparel.org. Just go there. The mocks will be up there by Monday. Whatever it costs, it's going to be reasonable. And we hope that all of you support and get the word out. Okay? Because this, especially and I'm going to wear my shirt proudly. The Let's Stop Anti-Israelitism. I'm gonna wear that shirt proudly. I probably have to get 4 or 5 shirts made. I don't want to be wearing the same shirt every day. I would suggest you get 2 with different colors and all that, and wear that proudly. Like, I'm against, stop anti-Israelitism. We need to stand up against that. Why all of a sudden now that we're staking claim to us being Israelites or Jews, how is that something soiled or negative when that has actually been the saving grace for our people? Mm-hmm. An option under God's law to save family. It's our only option. We've tried everything else. We've tried Jehovah's Witness. We've tried Seventh-day Adventists. We even tried Mormons now, and we're about to deal with them. I mean, we've tried the Nation of Islam. We've tried Sunni Islam. We've tried Buddhists. You name it, we've tried it, and nothing has worked for us. This is the only thing left, because why? It was the only thing for us anyway, and we're going to go into that. And now, since we are staking claim to our true identity, you have the mainstream media. Anytime they talk about it, they're anti-Israelite. And I don't understand this. So many families are being saved through the knowledge, with our brothers and sisters finding out who they are as far as God is concerned. Okay, the Bible is concerned. So many people are coming back to this Bible and embracing the Bible that they put down or thought was a white man's book. Right? Crime is down because our people understand we are accountable to the Most High. If we sin against him, we'll bring forth a curse on our generations, on our families. So the society has become better because of this awakening. And there's not too many people coming up and defending the positive aspects of me being a child of God. Me understanding that I'm an Israelite don't make me want to go to some synagogue and do something to another race of people.
Absolutely.
It don't make me want to steal. It don't make me want to get somebody together and say, hate whitey. None of those things ever came to mind. Okay? If anything, I appreciate the Most High for confirming his word and fulfilling his prophecy, that prophecy that told us in Hosea, in that land where it was told to you that ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Don't you know that this actually strengthens my belief in God? Our people have no idea who they are. And through that, a nation without spiritual foundation is what we're going to talk about. But go on, Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir. Reading again, Matthew chapter 24, verse number 7.
Yes.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
And what?
Earthquakes in diverse places.
Earthquakes in diverse places. And that's what we're hearing right now. An earthquake over there about to erupt out of the volcano in the Philippines. One just happened in Kansas that's not being reported. Right now, Puerto Rico is in a very fragile state right now, to a degree in which it's hard for them to even sell their properties. And they're driving the properties down there low on purpose, where you're going to almost have to walk away from them. Christ talked about this. And what should we do in response to that? Prepare. Spiritually and otherwise. And that's what we're doing. And I'm like, listen, brother, there's no way something is going down there and you've been baptized in this church, leading the charge there. Are we going to allow anything to happen to our brothers and sisters who've been baptized with the gathering of Christ Church? It's more work to do. If we have to relocate, let's relocate. So these are signs, right? Now, there's more I want to go in concerning that, but let's jump in because I really want to cover this. A nation without a spiritual foundation, right? Now, tell me what will happen, Elder Lawya. Just give me your opinion. And I purposely didn't tell Elder Lawya. I was on the phone with the brother in Puerto Rico, speaking to Gabar or whatever the case is. And there's a lot of brothers and sisters need prayer in Jamaica. I was talking to a lot of people today. All praises be to the Most High. And I purposely didn't tell him the topic. I wanted him to organically, if you will, give a response based on this. All right. So I'm going to ask you, Elder Lawya, what would happen if two Israelites in full mitre and fringes, what would happen if they were to get on bikes with their Bibles and drive into a predominantly white neighborhood spreading the good news of Black Jesus?
Wow. What would happen?
The good news of Black Jesus. Two mitres on their bikes, driving in a predominantly 99% white neighborhood, teaching the good news of Jesus Christ, of black Jesus, what would happen in that neighborhood?
Well, aside from being, I guess you would say, pushed to the side or ignored, or whatever the case may be, I think eventually, if they're persistent enough, they'll be probably cited for some type of public disturbance or disruption in the community. Anything you can throw, or the book could probably be thrown at these men, these two brothers in Mitris, if they were to go into a white community, trying to convert or trying to teach them about a black Jesus Christ, or convert them into the understanding of a black Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I would, and I'm sure you're being a little light with your answer. I understand. All right, let me give another example. Let's get the Israelites out of the way, because right now the Israelites is red hot topic right now. People don't know where this is going. Let's just use the Nation of Islam real quick. Just say if two brothers with Farrakhan haircuts, black, one with a black suit, one with a gray suit, white shirt and bow tie, were to take their bikes and walk into the same neighborhood, spreading the knowledge that's directly from heaven, because usually top knowledge shouldn't be race specific, right? Of their prophet Elijah Muhammad as the savior with the religion for world peace. Suppose they were to come, red bow ties, white shirt, one with a black jacket, one with a gray jacket, and was to take their bikes in a predominantly white neighborhood, spreading the news, the good news of Elijah Muhammad. How do you think that would work out?
Again, a very, very good question. I think that, because you posed the question in that fashion, thinking about these communities, and I know exactly where the train of thought behind it. I see where you're going with it. But I think the only reason, I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
But I think the only reason it doesn't work in other neighborhoods the same way it works in our neighborhoods is because even though there's differences in these other communities, either religiously, politically, socially, what have you, the need or the search for truth, the search for an identity, the search for an understanding of God I don't think that is the chief focus of these other communities, or the chief issue in these communities enough for them to even regard.
So they don't feel a demographic within those communities would actually listen, because there's other concerns outside of a need for some spiritual understanding to who you are and a direction.
Exactly.
So what they can find through the hurt, pain, and destitute state of our communities, there's a pool of people that they know are searching for some level of direction.
Exactly.
Now, you are putting the cart before the horse, but I just wanted to put it out there before we go into the resolving it.
Yeah.
Right? By looking at this and saying, well, okay, how is it that, because regardless of whether or not a need is there, these people claim to have the salvation for mankind.
Yes.
Because if it can work for the black man, obviously, if all nations were to follow this, we'll have a better earth. It'll be less people complaining about the earth if you can convert all white people into believing what you feel is right. So why is it just black specific, right? And I'm going to show you how, because it's, you know what it would look like? It would look crazy. That's what it would look like if two Israelites were to drive up or walk down a street in a neighborhood. A matter of fact, suppose two Israelites went out walking down the street in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, preaching the good gospel of Jesus, of black Jesus, and saying, well, listen, we accept you if you get baptized in the name of our black Jesus. You must accept that in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood. And so, go ahead.
The Jewish community, okay, the regular white community, that's one thing.
Yeah.
You may get a town hall meeting or something like that to that effect, but The difference, I think, with the Jewish community is that their religious beliefs don't stay in the synagogue. Their religious beliefs leave the synagogue along with the people of that community, and is actually actioned throughout the community, to where if someone comes bearing another religious belief in their community, what they learned in that synagogue concerning other beliefs and other religions will now take action in that community. So if they see that threat, or what they perceive as a threat from another religion, now they're going to make sure that that threat is, tranquilized, or whatever the case may be. I think I'm using the wrong word, but dealt with.
Man, this is deep. Okay, Gabar says he's on the line in Blog Talk. I guess he want to come in. I think we done stimulated something here. Right? Hey, folks, hit that like button. Wait till what we're about to show you real quick. Hit that like button. Man, this is going to be one of those shows and we're just going to bring the facts. We're not going to demonize anyone. We're going to attack anyone personally. There's no way they're going to have to be able to strike this. It's going to be common sense, logical thinking to highlight the double standard. How is it that there's protection religiously for these people to make sure nothing comes in and harm their way of life, but yet that same protection isn't amongst the people who need protection more so? You would have thought we would have viewed the protection these neighborhoods have when it comes to what can come in and out of their communities, and understand that they have something that actually allows them to sustain a certain level of wealth amongst each other because they believe the same thing. So we're looking at trying to get wealth, not realizing there's no way to have generational wealth without spiritual unity. They've gotten that. They've gotten that piece already. Because if we don't have spiritual unity, any wealth we acquire will eventually be spent to those who do have spiritual unity.
That's right.
You understand? They understand the foundation of unifying spiritually first and keeping out any spiritual enemy that could break that fundamental foundation of their community. Because that's what a spiritual foundation is. You build everything else upon it, on it. That's your foundation. Finances and all that stuff comes from having a strong bedrock, a strong foundation. Right? Now, I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab Gabar in real quick, but when these guys come rolling around, we don't see this as anything. What's wrong with this? There's nothing wrong here. These guys can't relate to anything we're dealing with. They'll come in our communities and pillage our communities, and no one is looking at this at all as the threat it really is. And this is one of many. We can't allow me as an Israelite are not allowed to do in the suburbs of Utah what these guys can do in the ghettos of Harlem. Now, Gabar is sick, but I know what happened. Gabar was listening to this broadcast and like, yo, I need to tap in. And that's what happened. Where is he? I've been working on this. It's going to be good. 515-605-9327. Now, here it is. These two wet behind the ear guys who aren't respected as anything in Utah or amongst the Mormons are considered elders in the black neighborhood. It's laughable. That's how far they believe we have digressed. With people with no biblical understanding at all, no knowledge at all, can immediately come into our communities and be called an elder by the aged man or woman in our communities. Elder Gabar. Shalom, Elder.
Yes, sir. You call it right. and you call it right, Elder. I'm sick of my deathbed, practically, and I'm here just listening. I said, you know what? I got to say something. That was a profound question, because I remember there was a few years back that there was a black Mormon apologist dealing with color in the Bible.
Yeah.
And I guess if people that don't know the history of the Mormons, within the Mormons' writings, they said if you're wicked, you turn black, and if you're righteous, you turn white, and that's been a constant theme within the Mormonism religion. And
we got that. We're going to pull them out tonight, yeah. Gabar. We're pulling out all that tonight. But go on.
Yeah, and I think in 1978, the leader of the Mormon Church got a so-called vision from God, according to him. That God told him, you are allowed now to bring in black people into the Mormonism religion. They could be part of the kingdom or whatever. And then, now this is a thing that, they allow blacks within Mormonism. And that's why you see black Mormons now. You never used to see them before. They're few, they're not many, but they're out there. And, this is one of these things that, you ask that question about what if we, a black, never mind black Israelite, let's say the Mormonism was in reverse, that, white was a curse and being black is righteous. And we're going in white neighborhoods, Italian neighborhoods, Irish neighborhoods, Russian neighborhoods, teaching this. There will be some fighting words. There will be some issue, dealing with us just teaching that. They will automatically call us racist, at minimum. Will denounce that book, right? And when you have a situation that you could have these white guys going into our neighborhood and able to dialect with people, and as if that is not a fundamental racist, anti-black book. And the conversation should be, get the hell out of here. You're racist. Exactly. Your whole organization is based on, the more righteous you are, the whiter you are. I guess that Christ was dark because his feet was dark. It was bronze. I guess that's a problem. So we are too easy, and white people are too comfortable coming into our neighborhood. And black people should be eerie, and Latino should be eerie when you got white people coming in. Want to discuss, something. Because that's all usually, the situation. And that's not us being racist towards white people. That's us being cautious towards, protective of our neighborhood. So every single time, I think I saw one black Mormon one time, and I chased him down. I started asking questions. He started getting all nervous, and he was out of there. Yeah. I looked at him, brother, how can you be a Mormon? How can you in God's green earth, you be a Mormon? And then he's answering me that, that blacks are allowed now. I said, brother, you see how how stupid that sounds?
Yeah, we're allowed now.
And he looked at me.
It's a club. Jesus, they had hold up. They had a come to Jesus moment. What happened was, you got a picture up in here? Mm-hmm. They had a come to Jesus moment, We can allow the blacks back up in here. We can allow the sully blacks amongst us. They had a come to Jesus moment and said, let's let the Negroes in. But go on. There's a lot I want to cover, but go ahead. I'm listening because we're about to blow this thing open.
I just wanted to I just wanted to just concur your statement, the hypocrisy of all of this.
That's the word.
Not only that not only you had this religion is accepted in America, but you almost had a Mormon president, Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
And when he was in the campaign and he was running for office, they asked him about that same question. He said, well, I'm not going to answer any religious institution. And it was a funny thing. You know who was asking that question? a white person, not black people. So how can we allow a president that is part of a church or potential president that it was not until 1978 or 1976, whatever year, allow black people in their organization. So Ben Ryan, he was like in his 50s.
Yeah.
So he grew up as a Mormon. So that means he was in an organization that thought that black people are inferior because of this skin race, and we're okay with that.
Yeah, because Jesus,
Obama,
because white Jesus came amongst the Indians. Man, wait till I go into this Book of Mormons tonight. The white Jesus,
so
he got the whole world in his hand. All right, the white Jesus.
No, right. So
right.
It's a thing, Elder. But I know you got your show lined up. I'm just listening, enjoy the topic. But that question found me up. I was like, okay,
there you go.
I gotta say something because every time
he got the whole world in his hands.
And I said, brother, how could you be a Mormon? How can you how in God's green earth, be anything else but that? I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, man. Hey.
But I digress, Elder. But
I'm gonna stop making jokes. I'm gonna stop making jokes. It's time to jump in. Thank you, Elder Gabar. And I know you're gonna come in because it's about to get what my son called. I'm getting the verbiage down, elders. My son is telling me I got to use this word now. It's about to get lit up in here. Okay. It's about to get what they say it's litty, right? It's about to get lit. Hold tight. I'm gonna put Elder Gabar on hold, and so you can't say that I'm dealing with anything racist. I got anything against white people or whatever. The whole thing is, Elder Gabar said it nicely. He said it right when he says that it's upright hypocrisy. There's a double standard where anyone can come and pillage spiritually on our people within our communities with impunity, with no regard, knowing that there's no spiritual foundational protection, mainly amongst the men. Why? Because there's no unified front to protect our men, women, and children. And you don't realize the worshiping of many gods and worshiping all over the place and following the Gentiles is what got us here. This is how we become so distraught, because we didn't look to build a spiritual foundation first. But I'm about to get into your Mormons. Hold that for me. Hold that. It's about to jump. It's about to get lit, like my son says. So you can't say that it's me saying all this. This is my opinion. I need y'all to check this out. Okay, here we go. You can't say I'm saying this.
White skin.
Hey.
White skin.
Hey guys, the gig is up. I'm not the real Jesus. As a matter of fact, the fella's name wasn't even Jesus. He had a Hebrew name. There wasn't a letter J until a few hundred years ago. With that being said, I have fooled the whole world into the biggest sham of all time. The name and identity of the real fella has been taken over by me. There are thousands of paintings of Jesus, and they don't even come close. Jesus was the creation of the Roman Catholic Church, which served to replace the real fella, who probably looked more like Morgan Freeman. But who cares? The truth doesn't matter, as long as you pay your tithes. Hey, did you know that Pope Alexander VI commissioned Leonardo da Vinci to reinvent Jesus in the image of his own beloved son, Cesare Borgia? He felt that the Vatican needed a makeover because the real fella wasn't too appealing to the general public. So, voila, here I am, the modern version of the fake Jesus. Got you again. You saw me. I actually came clean and told you that I wasn't the real Jesus. I also told you that I was created to make certain populations happy and comfortable. Well, I am glad to see that many of you are loyal and enjoy strong delusions and still want me as your savior. Wow, what idiots.
Whoa. Huh? Now, if I was to say what he just said, I would be considered a racist. Now, I wish some of this would have been taught to us by them when I was coming up in the 70s and 80s with that picture of the white Cesar Borgia posing as Jesus Christ, the criminal. And he was in between JFK on one side of my mother's mantle and Martin Luther King, may the Lord rest his soul, on the other side of my mother's mantle. She had a clock. I'll never forget this clock with 3 pictures in it with white Jesus in the middle. Now, you know we going in now. Not too long ago, I did a video on the fact that the majority of pastors who came off the slave ships had a united front, and that Gabriel Prosser in the late 1700s was teaching that the blacks were the real Jews, and the majority of pastors were teaching that straight off the shores of the boats. That's why they would punish us for reading, but killed our pastors or killed our people if we read the Bible. Now, around this same time, there was another guy who came up. And this guy was a Mason by the name of Joseph Smith. Right after Prosser was teaching that heretical doctrine, that the real Jews are black, and that the language of the African language coming off the shores of Africa was dialects of Hebrew, even till this day. They couldn't have that. So they began to teach a false doctrine claiming that blacks was from the cursed seed of Ham, and Masons were behind this ideology. And that the claim that our color, that we were made to serve, and we have a genetic disorder to sin, being from the cursed seeds of Ham, our color bears the curse. No, not the curse of Deuteronomy 28 given to Moses, but the curse of Cain and the curse of Ham. This guy began to teach that. Elder Lawya, I need you to give me my bag real quick, my black bag over there, if you may. Mm-hmm. Just roll it over here to me. There's a book, the one that I gave you, if you can get it out of there. The book, I gave you one of the books last week. A little after Joseph Smith began to teach his crap, there was a white guy, a Jewish guy by the name of M.M. Noah, going over into England teaching that the North American Indians are in fact, based on the archaeology, the language, and the customs, were from the lost tribes of Israel. And he actually wrote, and I have the original book here, I wanted it original print, The Discourse of the Evidence of the American Indians. The Discourses of the Evidence of the Indians. I know it's a little fuzzy because it don't autofocus. Well, anyway, M.M. Noah had proof that the customs, the Indians putting away their women during the time of their menstrual, circumcision, and they made people believe that Indians were so what you would call nomads, or so far from technology that they were living in tents. That was a lie. They had brick and mortar over here. But what he researched is a certain time of year, the North American Indians would pitch tents, Feast of Tabernacles, according to the Bible. Also, that they followed the 364-day calendar, 52 Sabbaths, that we follow till this day. It was in this book in the 1800s, folks. They always knew that the North American Indians were from the 10 tribes of Israel. They always knew that. But Joseph Smith had to come in as a Mason at that same time period, to muddy or gray the waters. Why? Because the public sentiment was swaying more so towards these people being the real Jews or the Israelites according to prophecy. So Rome couldn't have that. After calling them savages, Indians, cannibals, after demonizing them, if you can sully them or make them subhuman, now you have an excuse, or you excused during your colonization. Now you're you're more so civilizing an uncivilized society. See? So they sent Joseph Smith over, who lied and claimed that he found the golden tablets. Now the golden tablets is written about in this book, that they found it. But it's not the Book of Mormons, folks. Joseph Smith claimed he got the golden tablets, and it's the second stick. Joseph Smith and the Mormons started pushing this garbage in our communities. Now, so what I thought I would do is I would use their Book of Mormons for anybody who would believe that this gospel of the Mormons is for our people. And we're just going to start there. And then we're going to go down the line with the other religions that are destroying our people. And then I'm going to go back to why God said we must unite spiritually first. We're looking for financial restitution, generational wealth, how to sustain our families, how we can change the tide by uniting in all these things according to not according to our God, but according to our current circumstance. We must unite because we've been oppressed. You can't unite under that. That's right. Because there'll always be someone else of another nation bringing another God, undoing all the work we're trying to establish. They'll bring another God and it'll direct another person into their God. And now they're pulling another brick out of our kingdom, folks.
Right. Exactly.
And I don't think anyone logically looked at it like this. This is why God told Moses, let's leave the Egyptians so that they can so that my people can sacrifice to me. I'm going to make them a nation different, better than these other nations who are heathens, and give them a law. And if they build on that law, the other nations would never have the power to overtake them if they have that spiritual foundation first to understand right and wrong according to one united creator. All the other nations know that. That's why they'll never allow a threat of our people coming into their communities like the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witness, the Muslims and all that. They'll never allow it because they understand that that foundation, the spiritual foundation, must be built first. Make sure y'all hit that like button as you come in, because this is one of the more simpler lessons or conversations, but it would be what I would call one of the more logical lessons or conversations. 515-605-9327. Of course, the topic the day, a nation without a spiritual foundation. That's what we're talking about today. We don't have a spiritual foundation. I'll tell you what, if you go over there as an Israelite, and we have people all over the earth right now who know they're baptized and know they're Israelites, you can't go into a Middle Eastern country and go down on any of their blocks and start teaching the Bible the way we teaching it right now amongst Muslims. That's a death sentence. So what do they know that we don't? But yet, our people will allow them to come over in our communities and set up mosques. You don't see anything wrong with that? You can't see that's the core problem. Outside of all the other problems, that's the problem that should be cleared up first. One people uniting under one God. One thing about Jewish people, it doesn't matter where they are in the earth, they know to show up in a synagogue on the Sabbath. Regardless of their political views and all that. They may disagree politically. Publicly, they'll disagree. They may even hate each other. They probably can't stand each other, but they'll show up together united at the synagogue. Anything, Lawya?
Yes, sir. And as I mentioned earlier, they don't leave their religious beliefs in the synagogue. They take it with them and establish it in their community.
Exactly.
Our problem is that we go into the church, we read the 10 Commandments in the church, but we never thought about actually applying those 10 Commandments in the community.
Yeah.
Thou shalt have no other God before me. Just
That
that
was the
law
first
alone,
law.
you can stop any level and the words are leaving my mind right now.
Intrusion, infiltration.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. You can stop any
Infiltration.
level of infiltration in our community, politically, religiously, financially. No other nation can come and set up different types of stores, selling us all types of goods and wares. That law alone, if it's established, eliminates
There
that.
would be no such thing as regentrification. And I'm glad you brought that up, Lawya. There would be no such thing as regentrification. You come into our neighborhood, we serve the God of Israel. Who's your God? When the Bible told us to beware that while being idle, they'll be feeding us things sacrificed to idols.
That's right.
Spraying demons in through their restaurants into our food, into our souls. Every time you eat food with your family, folks, that's a spiritual moment. It's what the Bible calls a daily sacrifice. And we don't even take heed to some of the Gentile idols and the Gentile altars in a lot of these restaurants. So the first thing I would have full knowledge to realize that every nation, that doesn't matter what their religion, doesn't matter what their language, all pagan religion comes from the Tower of Babel. So you can't get nothing from us coming in our neighborhood served with another God. I would not financially sustain your power or your God over my people. Okay? It's just like you're not going to allow me to sell chicken and collard greens in Chinatown.
Exactly.
And you know what? I understand that. You are united under one God, and how dare some black guy come here talking about some cornbread? So this is how the Gentiles were able to sustain their wealth and power over us. We're looking backwards. We're looking for wealth first. When it's the Gentile nations who have conspired against us, who controls the wealth? So you can't look at the wealth because they'll always have power over you in that area. But if you unite as a people, now as a united front, you can now decide where to put your wealth. See that? The Bible had the answer, brothers and sisters, the whole time. It's logical. But I digress. Hold up. Look what we have here. Looky here. The Book of Mormon. Now, what does this say here on the front, brothers and sisters, of every Book of Mormon? It tells us that it's another testament of Jesus Christ. Another testament of Jesus Christ. That's what it says here. Now, does this Bible, the King James Version Bible, the Bible that was authorized by a black man and translated by black people, they were Protestants against the Romans. The original Protestants were black. We were protesting pagan Rome. Okay? I don't know if I got my King James book in there, but it's okay. I can deal with that later. I have that I probably have it in my other library. But guess what? The cover of this book is sacrilege. Just to cover by stating it's another testament. Listen to what the Bible says. Let's read it.
2 Corinthians 11, verse number 4. For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus.
So if someone comes with another testament,
whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received,
which the disciples or those that were learning at this time under the disciples received, Read.
Or another gospel.
Another what?
Another gospel.
Hold up. This is another testament. Another what?
Another gospel.
Another gospel.
Which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him.
You might well bear with him. So if you're going to go follow another Jesus, another gospel, another testament, Paul was saying, listen, go ahead. Go back into Egypt. Go back into servitude. Because if you serve another, guess what? You will become subservient to the nation who worships that God. Hence, perpetual captivity. Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Galatians 1 verse 6. I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of Christ.
Wait, break it down.
Unto another gospel.
Unto what?
Another gospel.
Go ahead, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 7, which is not another, meaning there's no such thing as another gospel, okay? But there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Christ. This book here, the so-called Book of Mormon, is a perversion of the gospel of Christ, okay? Because the knowledge of the restoration of both Israel, Judah, the whole nation of Israel, is contained within the Bible. We don't need another testament from Joseph Smith to tell us how the Israelites will be restored, both the northern as well as the southern kingdom Israelites. And I mention that because that's one of the doctrines that they're pushing. This is the stick of Ephraim, when all the knowledge of Ephraim is right here in this Bible, this book, okay? Moving on, it says, verse number 8, but though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you.
So if someone comes with another gospel, and this is another testament, Christ had nothing to do with this. The disciples had nothing to do with this. There's an Old and New Covenant. That's the Old and New Testament. It's one book. Read.
Preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you.
Come on.
Let him be accursed.
Let that person, whoever teaching out of this book, claiming that it's another gospel, you are accursed. Why? It's against God's people. It was formulated to throw people off of the trail of the true Israelites that they found in the new land. That's what Joseph Smith's agenda was. To have this clown religion where he claimed that the original people came from with UFOs and with the original man and all this other planets. Look at the origin of the Mormon faith. It's crazy, folks. Mm-hmm. All types of fraternal, what you would call Masonic religions, all morphed within it. But I'm not even going to go there. This is what they feel about people of color. Let's get it real quick, Elder Lawyer. Mm-hmm. It's right here, right? Let's get all. You got them all? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to get them here. We're going to read them all, right? This is what they feel about you when they come into your neighborhoods to give you the good news of Jesus Christ. Oh, you know I'm going there. One moment. Let me pull it up here. One moment. You know, I know I have him around here somewhere. His name is Caesar. Oh, here you go. Here he go. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull him up many times. There you go. Sweet Jesus. Now, this image was unheard of in the old world. Our people didn't know nothing about this clown right here, Cesar Borgia, this evil, wicked doer. So the first thing is when they come in our neighborhoods and start talking to our children, bringing another God, promoting another God, these guys right here, they'll ask, have you heard about the prophet Joseph Smith? Okay. Have you heard about the great prophet Joseph Smith? Now, hey, if Farrakhan can come with Elijah Muhammad, they're trying to figure, well, okay, we're going to come with our guy. Our savior, Joseph Smith. Have you heard the good news of Jesus? Huh? And now your child is sitting on the steps listening to these demons bringing in another God unbeknownst to you. To you, it's a good thing. At least he's not getting shot. This is how we, weigh what's right or wrong in our neighborhoods. At least he's not getting shot. At least he's not getting thrown in jail or selling drugs. Everything else is a go. When folks, they are actually deteriorating our children at its spiritual core coming with this. Because when our children look at this, now the Bible speaks against this image. That's number one. And we're going to go there. But check out what your child will be learning out of this book. How do they feel about black people? Let's go down the line, Elder Lawya, chapter and verse one by one. Chapter and verse, and I'm going to actually type in the chapter and verse inside your chat right now so that you can actually go, when you run into a Mormon, open the book and say, guess what? Because a lot of them are unlearned too. They don't even know that some of this madness, well, they know about it, but they don't know how many times the evil racist precepts are actually written within the book itself. Straight racist against black people. So what do Elder Bob and Elder George right here, how do they feel about your children when it comes to them receiving the good gospel of Joseph Smith?
This is 1 Nephi chapter 12, verse number 23.
1 Nephi. Also, Esau began to make himself one of the 10 tribes too.
In fact, let me start a little earlier. This is 1 Nephi chapter 11, verse number 13.
11 and 13, it reads what?
1 Nephi 11, verse number 13
hold on,
says.
let me straighten this out. Read it again.
1 Nephi chapter 11, verse number 13. And it came to pass that I looked and beheld the great city of Jerusalem, and also other cities, and I beheld the city of Nazareth. And in the city of Nazareth I beheld a virgin, and she was exceedingly fair and white.
She was exceedingly fair and white. Read.
And it came to pass, speaking about Mary.
Talking about Mary. Mary was fair and white. Let's go to the next one.
There's a little bit more. And it came to pass, verse 14 through 15, and it came to pass that I saw the heavens open, and an angel came down and stood before me, and he said unto me, Nephi, what beholdest thou? And I said unto him, a virgin most beautiful and fair above all other virgins.
So they're pushing the Virgin Mary, which we know as Semiramis, a Jesuit Masonic doctrine, folks. The disciples never taught anything about this crap, how they're actually teaching of the virgin. A virgin, according to the Hebrew, according to the Israelites, has always translated to young maiden, a woman of marriageable age, whether she's married or had sex or not. But the Babylonians, all of them taught of the virgin Semiramis, who didn't have a physical, who they claimed was able to conceive without a father. He's pushing the same thing. Finish reading.
This is 1 Nephi chapter 12, verse number 23. And it came to pass that I beheld.
Nephi is something that they actually made up. Okay. Some of these names were on the golden tablets, but when you look at Nephi, that's close to Nephilim. That comes from Nephilim or giant. Because why? Esau, Edomites, the Europeans, before they conquered Europe, went into the land of Canaan and had children with leprous Canaanites, who was part Nephi or Nephilim. See? Come on.
First Nephi chapter 12, verse 23.
Come on.
And it came to pass that as I beheld, after they had dwindled in unbelief, they became a dark and loathsome.
So this is what they feel about you. When we fell into unbelief, read.
They became a dark and loathsome and a filthy people.
They became dark, loathsome, and filthy. So when Elder Bob and Elder Frank come into your neighborhood, they view your color as someone who's cursed for being filthy and destitute. So they'll come into your neighborhood and say, well, yeah, the prophecies of Joseph Smith is correct. Look at North Philly. Look at Harlem. They must be the cursed seeds of Ham, not equating our condition with a curse that was written in Deuteronomy 28. For us disobeying our God, for us leaving the commandments, the Most High put us under the Gentiles. And the Gentiles began to put us in quote unquote ghettos. But they'll claim our condition is a curse through our genealogy, a curse by God. And our color highlights the curse. This is in your Book of Mormon. Come on, Elder Lawya.
Mm-hmm. They became a dark and loathsome and a filthy people.
A filthy people.
Full of idleness and all manner of abominations.
They're black and lazy. That's what the Book of Mormons tell you. Have you heard the good news of Joseph Smith? You black and lazy Canaanite. You black and lazy Hamite. There's more. Come on, Elder Lawya.
First Nephi chapter 13, verses 14 through 15.
Okay, we at First Nephi. Come on.
Chapter 13, verses 14 through 15.
13 and 14. Let's go.
And it came to pass that I beheld many multitudes of the Gentiles upon the land of promise. And I beheld the wrath of God, that it was upon the seed of my brethren, and they were scattered before the Gentiles and were smitten. And I beheld the Spirit of the Lord that was upon the Gentiles, and they did prosper and obtain the land for their inheritance. And I beheld that they were white and exceedingly fair and beautiful, like unto my people.
Like unto my people, white, beautiful. Read.
Before they were slain.
Before they were slain. So it's white is beautiful in Joseph Smith's Bible. Okay. Black is cursed, shiftless, okay, lazy, dirty in Joseph Smith's Bible. We have more. Let's go.
Second Nephi chapter
and
5.
See, this is what's deep about this is that they can go back to Utah and laugh in their congregations that blacks are actually receiving this stinking ministry they're teaching. They're laughing. Can you imagine imagine an Israelite going into the white neighborhood saying, well, according to the Bible, you're shiftless, lazy, you're wicked, and all that. And not only that, it's in the Bible, and they're teaching that in the suburbs in Utah. You know what you'll be hearing? You'll be hearing about the low swinging fruit, swinging on the tree. All those swinging fruit. Oh Lord, low swing. Help us, Lord. That's what you're going to be hearing over there in Utah. Help me, Lord, as a black dude swinging like this with a mitre on. Let's go.
Second Nephi chapter 5, verse number 21. And he had caused the cursing to come upon them, even a sore cursing because of their iniquity. For behold, they had hardened their hearts against him, and they had become like unto a flint, wherefore, as they were white, and exceeding fair and delightsome.
Oh, they was fair and delightsome at first.
That they might be enticing unto my people, might not be enticing unto my people.
Come on.
The Lord did cause a skin of blackness to come upon them.
So this is what's going on with me right now, folks. I was white, but I got a scab of black darkness that God put on me, according to Joseph Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, folks? We're the people of the sun. There's no such thing as a black guy going into the sun, getting skin cancer or anything else, unless he's using that garbage suntan lotion that makes your skin like leather and causes cancer and all that. I was cracking up. I went to the beach. We went to the beach. We went out during the time of the eclipse when everybody was out there. And I seen black people putting on suntan lotion. I'm sitting there laughing. I'm like, they cook it. I'm like, don't you know we were born with our suntan lotion? It's called melanin. Oh, and you see the mother put it on your back. You don't want to get suntan. Listen, we love the sun. The sun keeps us young. Black is beautiful. It has always been beautiful, folks. There's no way I'm going to sit in the sun and actually know I'm running into a cave somewhere because a scab or cancer is popping out on me. How did they reverse that? To make you believe, I'm looking at black people put on suntan. Simple as a day's old. We're born with suntan, folks. It's called melanin. We've always been what every other nation on earth wanted to be. And you're going to have this clown by the name of Joseph Smith send these demons in our neighborhood, these Mormons, to further divide an already destitute people. Come on, let's go.
This is 2 Nephi chapter 26, verse number 33. For none of these iniquities come of the Lord. For he that doeth that which is good among the children of men, and he doeth nothing save it be plain unto the children of men. And he inviteth them to come unto him and to partake of his goodness. And he that denieth, and he denieth none that cometh unto him, black and white, bond and free, male and female, and remembereth the heathen, and all are alike unto God.
You can all come back. You could be in a Mormon church, but understand, you running around with a black scab that God gave you. Hold up, let's get some more. Now
it says here, the last part says both Jew and Gentile. So my question is, in this particular religion, who's the Jew and who's the Gentile?
Exactly. They're teaching that blacks are Gentile, which is a lie. The Gentile are the Gentile nations, like the Europeans who are Edomites, like the Ishmaelites who are Arab, like the Japhites who are Asian and Chinese. They are the Gentiles. We're not Gentiles. We're from the bloodline of the children of Israel. Now let's get some more out there. What else we got? Let's get a few more. Let's get a few more.
2 Nephi chapter 30, verse number 6, it says,
2 Nephi 30 and 6. Let's read it.
And then shall they rejoice, for they shall know that it is a blessing unto them from the hand of God, and their scales of darkness shall begin to fall from their eyes.
So when the scale of darkness, come on.
Shall begin to fall from their eyes, and many generations shall pass away among them, or shall not pass away among them, save they shall be a pure and a delightsome people. And it shall come to pass that as the Jews which are scattered also begin to believe in Christ, and they shall begin to gather in upon the face of the land, and as many as shall believe in Christ shall also become a delightsome people.
So you'll turn back white if you do right as a Jew. Lord, man, let me tell you, folks. If you're talking about how to heat up that barbecue, if this is not it, you know, I mean, it's not. Look at this thing. It's nice and flexible. You don't even need no lighter fluid for this. I mean, as soon as those coals start dimming down, if you're talking about something that can be used for campfire or barbecue. I mean, is anything better than this? But go on, Elder Lawya. What? Give me some more of the trash And what's deep is you got people online teaching that this is the second stick of Ephraim. No, it's not original, because this is what Joseph Smith said when he was looking to deter people from the knowledge that Noah was teaching in Europe that the Indians were the true Jews. And that Gabriel Prosser and all the black preachers here who predominantly knew they were Israelites, the original black church was teaching our people that we were Israelites, folks, in slavery. And I'm talking about freed blacks. We weren't teaching that our people were Gentiles. Huh? Come on, let's do it. Because you got people out there saying that that's the second stick. And see, and I'm glad, and you know what? I let it go for a long while because I wanted to see how many, I wanted actually to allow this thing to go on so that these people out there that teach that nonsense to get way up to that mountain in which they feel that they're bringing some information so that everyone can see them. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. Oops. You went to that top, and guess what? That rock you were holding on to was the Book of Mormon. And guess who was holding it? Elder Rawchaa. And I let it go. And now you're tumbling down, see? And I wanted you to, I'm like, you know what? Just let it go, because if he don't know, if these people out there teaching that this book is the book for our people, haven't read this book, and I read the book already, mind you. So I'm not speaking from what you would call novice, vantage point in which I just hate the book, because I knew that the 10 tribes were the Indians, and I got the book originally in 1997, folks, to see if there was any validity that can link the scriptures. And what I found is there's nothing in that book that's true that you can't find in the Bible. So what good is it? If at the end of the day, it feeds into the modern Christian narrative that black people were meant to serve white people according to European Christian theology. And it feeds the lie that Christ was a white man, that his people were white. So what good is it? All the precepts that you can tell, all the precepts they took directly from the Gospels or from the epistles. It's right there. Some of the verses, they quote the New Testament verbatim. So why do I need to read it there?
Exactly. What's the point of this as another stick if it's just saying exactly, or the good stuff is saying exactly what's in this stick, okay, or in this book? It's no use for it. So now going to this one.
Okay, let me put this criminal. Let me move this criminal here. Joseph the Demon, the Mason. Okay, but go on.
Yes, sir. You want to go just one more?
Yeah, let's go one more. That's all we're gonna have before I punt this thing.
All right.
I think the Super Bowl coming in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
I may get a head start and do a good old punt. Let's go.
This is Jacob chapter 3, verse 5. It says, "Behold, the Lamanites, your brethren, whom ye hate because of their filthiness."
Chapter and verse. Give it to him, Elder Lawya.
Jacob chapter 3, verse number 5.
Yeah.
"Behold, the Lamanites, your brethren, whom ye hate because of their filthiness, and the cursing which have come upon their skins, are more righteous than you." And this shows when it mentions skin, because some people will say with the darkness and the whiteness, that's talking about a state of being or something to that effect. No, this is actually speaking about skin color.
Skin. Joseph Smith is dropping the knowledge on you niggers, on you Negroes. That's what they're doing. Negro. Knowing that all through the regular Bible, it tell you that the disciples were Niger or black. All through the Bible, the people in the Bible were the people of color. A matter of fact, the people of color were destroyed by the Gentile nations, the Romans. White people who are known to be Gentiles throughout all of history before the fall of Jerusalem. Even in Africa, we knew better. Even in Africa, we knew better. And see, and it's so ridiculous, folks. It's so ridiculous that I'm making satire of that foolishness. Because you got some of our people, just like you got cats running around, a white guy that didn't have this white guy came straight out of a crazy house, folks. Got online and told people he was the angel Gabriel. And you had our people look at it, well, we can't prove he not Gabriel. I'm like, you know what? We might as well send in the troops. Let's send in the infantry right now. Let's send them in. If he's Gabriel, then these guys, who this? Who are we looking at here? Are we looking at Uriel and Michael right here? Mm. So I'm like, they're looking at our people online. This guy came straight out of an insane asylum. And then he told people online, he says, how do we start this thing off?
I forget. It's been so long.
He said, I forgot what it is.
Reading or some garbage.
Blessing, shalom, my brethren. Straight out of a nut house, folks. Saying that he was the prophet Gabriel, and you got our people online, people like, shalom, I want to give my testimony to Gabriel. And then one of the videos, the video is shaking. Somebody putting him out of an apartment. Gabriel didn't pay the rent.
See, that's the perfect example of the topic we are discussing. Not to say that these things don't happen amongst other nations. I mean, you got story upon story of other nations also accepting, these false leaders, these false people who pop up and say there's something great, but there should be no possible way amongst our people with the knowledge that the Most High have given us with the Bible, that we should be falling for these false doctrines, these false understandings, believing that a man is the Holy Spirit, believing that a man is the angel Gabriel.
So it don't stop with Gabriel.
Yeah.
You got a Negro just flushed the toilet and came out of the bathroom talking about he the Holy Spirit. Oh, yeah, boy, yeah. Don't go in there for 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, by the way, I'm the Holy Spirit amongst our people. I'm like, yo, dude, close the door. Who falls for this stuff?
Let me read this real quick, Salakia. Let me read this real quick.
Lord have mercy. See, it's to the point where you have to laugh at it, folks. What? And not only that, these are people who knew there were Israel and all that. And they were talking about, I'm the comforter. Look, brother, you make me very uncomfortable. We've been talking about you the comforter. I'm very uncomfortable right now in your presence. But go on.
This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 6. This is why people fall for this stuff. It says, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains.
Yeah.
They have gone far from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place.
Exactly. To the point I'm going to reeling that back in, you know what I mean? I would throw that Book of Mormons, but it's only one of the very few books we have left up in here, so that when we're up on these streets, because I told the brothers, get ready, we hitting those streets, especially in Philly and other places.
Yes, sir.
When we run into Elder, and these guys wet behind the ears coming straight off the plane from Utah. When you run into Elder Bob, or he bicycling in the ghetto in a regentified area, looking at how many Negroes is left, right? We can pull that book out and cut them with their own book. What do you feel about me? So why should I receive a gospel from your book that says that the way I look, according to your prophet Joseph Smith, is a curse? It's in your book. Well, you can be accepted by Jesus. What are we talking about, dude? What are you talking about? You Gentiles then went off the rails. We taught you. We taught you. The original disciples were black people. Wisdom of Solomon 14. Let's show you the lie that was prophesied years before the enemy began to put up a false image of Cedric Bourgier. 2 Ezra 14 and 8. Mm-hmm. And then, like Elder Gabar said, you can tell it was like a fish out of water. A black dude running around with two white dudes talking about he's a Mormon. Like, yo, dude, how did this happen? Well, Joseph Smith said we can be accepted now. Joseph who? Like, I'm like, Lord have mercy. Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 8. Let's go.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14, verse 8.
Let's go.
But that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it as he that made it.
Come on.
He, because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, it was called God.
Being corruptible, this image was called God. It was a corruptible image. It was prophesied in Wisdom of Solomon in the Old Testament. Read.
Verse 9. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God.
This is a hateful religion that comes with a hateful man, speaking of modern day European Christianity, that comes with a hateful man by the name of Cedric Bourgier. His family, the Bourgiers, is where you get the original narrative or script for The Godfather. The Godfather, the Corleone family, was a fictitious family they used using the biographies of Rodrigo Bourgier, the Godfather, and his son Cedric, who end up killing all of his enemies for his father. That whole Corleone story, folks, was the Bourgier family of Rome. That's the guy they put up in the New World to deceive the Indians and the Israelites who were black coming off the shores of Africa, coming from the shores of Africa. Come on.
Verse 10. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it.
So those that have made this, which is the Roman Empire, will be judged by our Savior. Read.
Verse 11. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles, there shall be a visitation.
Come on.
Because in the creature of God, there become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men.
Because this white image have become a stumbling block to the souls of men. You have our people being ignorant of the word and not understanding the Bible, who now believe that the Bible is a white man's book. And by thinking that, have turned away from the only answer that could unite our people spiritually. Mm-hmm. That was the plan. Okay? That was the plan. There's no place in the Bible that says that Christ's people or Christ himself were white people. Mm-hmm. But our people begin to believe that and equate the white image without reading the Bible or the book which condemns the white image. See? That white image was prophesied out of the Bible. To do what? To deceive the world. To deceive us so that we wouldn't, so that as a pretext, a stumbling block, it would be a wedge between us and our God, believing it belongs to someone else. Read.
If I can mention also, when it says there should be an visitation upon the idols of the Gentiles.
Yeah.
I would go as far as saying also, it don't just stop at the white images.
Yeah.
If you're worshiping a God with Asian features.
Yeah.
There should be a visitation upon those gods. If you're worshiping a god, a false god with black African features, there should be a visitation upon those gods.
Exactly.
So we don't stop with the white images of gods that are out there, or the white images of Christ. Any false image out there, there shall be a visitation or a judgment upon those who worship those images.
And this is the original picture that you can find in books by Jean Plady and Sarah Bradford. The Triptych of Poisoners by Jean Plady, The Life and Time of Cesar Borgia by Sarah Bradford. Like the Gentiles, the Edomites, the Romans don't even deny that this was a false image that was placed amongst our communities to deceive us.
All right, I think Gaja wants to be pulled in.
Okay, all right. Hold on, let me get Gaja. Where is he? Let's see, hold on. Let's get Gaja. 1 second here. Okay, Gaja, I'm gonna pull you in. Let me see how I can do this. Let me see.
All right, I'm sorry, Gaja. I'm just now seeing your message, like you messaged a while back.
A while back?
Well, let me see here. Let me check.
How do I get back to my phone? Oh, here it is. All right. I'll pull Gaja in. I'll pull him in anyway because, yeah.
Okay, like he messaged just a minute ago.
Oh, okay. I'll bring him in now. I'll put him next to the criminal. You know what I mean? He can.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
How you doing, Gaja?
Shalom.
I'm
Shalom.
blessed.
Hold on. Let me put you next to the criminal here. Hold on. Oh, hey, Gaja, I know this reminds you of back in the day, don't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
No holds barred.
That's how it should be.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, listen, we near the end anyway. It's time to just throw all types of uppercuts and hooks. I got the devil looking right at you on screen right now. All right, go ahead. He's looking at you. He don't like that black Jew thing you teaching.
Hey, listen, man. You know what? I just came in, man. I just caught like the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know, I did an episode a few weeks ago on this whole Mormon stuff. And the crazy thing is that, like you says, like I can't believe our people falling for this stuff.
Exactly.
Why the hell do I want to follow a religion that's telling me that I'm cursed the way your God cursed me because of the way I look? Why? Like, come on, man. That's simple as simple as a day's old. How? You with me? And you see these Elder Bobs and Elder Jimmy riding around. You even see them down here, riding around in the place in the hood. Like, yo, listen, why you coming here? And it's like we said, listen, Israelites hold up every garbage on the earth. We are the salt of the earth. Without us, no flavor. So for you to make this thing work, you need Israelites in it. You understand me? It's like yo, the thing about it, you can't ever sell some of this garbage to Europeans.
Hey, Gaja, I don't know how much of the program you've heard, but I posed a question to Elder Lawya earlier. Maybe I need to pose the same question to you if you missed it.
Go ahead.
Suppose two Israelites two Israelites in full mitres and fringes got on bicycles and rolled up in the suburbs, an all-white neighborhood, teaching the gospel of black Jesus.
They'd be in jail.
Oh, hold up. Joseph Smith said you can do that. Yeah. Joseph Smith said you can teach the gospel of white Jesus in black neighborhoods, and it'd be all good.
I mean, they'd be in jail. I remember. Listen, there's a video online that you can probably see with us. We went into a so-called Asian community in the UK, and it got rowdy. We had to get a police escort out. You with me? We went into the Jewish community, and we were almost thrown in jail. So the only people that you can come around and do this garbage with is us, with absolutely no repercussions. You with me? And that's how you get these Satanists like Vocab Maloney and all them targeting our people, targeting.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. And see, but even the whole thing is they talking about abortion now. That's where they at. And they better stay over there talking that crap too, because they know that they being bodied. Because even the black Christians are realizing, even the the urban apologists and the black Christians are realizing that these guys are playing them. That they're not really for our people, our community, because they are against our people teaching any level of identity with the Bible at all, or giving our people some pride of black pride, or against us teaching pride with the Bible, a black pride with the Bible. And you know what? The pastors are losing because of those that are because Israelites and others are teaching that the black Bible, the book was always a black book, and the pastors are losing their ministries now. But anyway, real quick, Gaja, before you go in, I need you to understand the topic so that you can chime in. A nation without a spiritual foundation. What you missed is in the beginning when we were setting up the program is that the fact that our people have got it wrong. We wonder why there's no systemic generational wealth, why there's nothing to leave our children. We wonder why the nations stay above us and not realize that the key point about all these other nations who have enslaved us is that they are united under one God, right? The Chinese are able to sustain because the majority of the Chinese that come over are Buddhist. The majority of Arabs that come over believe in one religion. They're not divided where in the same house there's a Jehovah's Witness, there's an atheist, there's a Seventh-day Adventist. Even white people in themselves, okay? They realize the majority of white people, even if they don't frequent church like that, are Catholic or Jewish. You understand? And so our people don't realize the power that comes through spiritual unity, and they don't relate our poverty with how fragmented we are as a people with all these different beliefs and different gods. When the other nations who has what you would call the generational wealth understand that you must have that in place first. Your belief system that unifies you, now you can identify the enemy that comes in because you're unified. Religiously first. And none of us ever realized that has always been our biggest issue. It's not systemic wealth and spending money amongst each other and all that. It's none of that. It's the first commandment first, that thou shalt have no other God before thee. That's right. If we can unite under that first commandment, everything else falls in place. But how can we do this when, and I'm going to let you in, Gaja, how can we do this when our debate is what black person make an argument over some terrain in Africa that's being controlled by the white man and Chinese man anyway, and who can make the better argument over African history? When the white man is debating on TV, they're debating will end up where they'll receive something tangible. They're not waiting for a pie in the sky. What they're debating will yield instant results now.
How can we invade a country, take over the population?
Exactly.
And rule them. How can we do that? That's
exactly. And see, and I think that's the big piece we've missed for so long. That the issue is what we've always allowed to divide our people, starting with other people that are coming in our communities, not realizing it's not their storefronts that's keeping us oppressed. It's what they believe and the gods and the spirits they bring amongst us with their storefronts that keeps us oppressed, because their God has always been against our God. And I was like, you know what? Let's have a logical conversation tonight to show you how unrealistic we have always been, and this is something that we never even examined together to show you how low logically we are as a people. We never even examined the other nations that were coming in our communities, that this was a spiritual attack pillaging off of us. One at a time. When they sent Elijah Muhammad that divided us. That was a Masonic trick to divide the Black Unified Front.
Speaking of Elijah Muhammad,
yes,
and in the context of this conversation, other nations being able to come into our community and bring their religious beliefs, opposed to us going to another nation and bringing our religious beliefs.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you've seen one of Farrakhan. I believe it's his latest speech about him going to Iran.
I've seen it,
and I halfway believe what he said, and I'm gonna state why. I don't believe he went to Iran to tell them about Elijah Muhammad and Fard Muhammad. That don't sound.
Nah.
That sounds like a nutcase to me.
Listen, they strung him up. Listen, that garbage can only be brought to Negroes. You can't go anywhere else.
Exactly.
You can only preach that stuff in Chicago, and everybody, hey man, that's what you told them. Man, listen, we're living in the age of technology where everything is recorded. I want to hear you tell about Elijah Muhammad over there in Iran.
Exactly. But my point is this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Salaki. What'd you say, Gaja?
No, I said they would string him up.
Exactly.
I've been over there. I've been over the Middle East. You can roll out some Elijah Muhammad if you want over there in the Middle East. Are you kidding me?
But my point is this.
But go ahead.
As a so-called Black leader, he gets the opportunity, according to his testimony, to speak amongst the high ayatollahs and diplomats, whoever the case may be, of Iran. And according to his testimony, the thing that he speaks about is Elijah Muhammad and Fard Muhammad. Out of all the conversations he can have amongst these diplomats.
All of the pressing issues that are upon our people as right now. The only you're going to have, and then when you finally are allowed to get the floor, you speak of Elijah Muhammad? Are you kidding me? The pressing issues of our people, we're being regentrified. The religions are killing us. Everybody's sick now. Our people are dying in number. And the only thing you can do when you get the floor is not speak of prophecy concerning what just happened with that military leader that was killed. But you roll out Elijah Muhammad? And I'm going to tell you, folks, you can say what you want about Martin Luther King. And I seen the video you did. You understand? But I'm going to tell you this right now, Gaja. If they was going to get rid of him, they had to get rid of him after that was out there so that they can now portray him in that light or immortalize him in that light. He didn't believe that dream garbage before he was killed. He didn't believe that because he was shifting that into generational wealth for our people. So he was going to use the equality step and get laws passed. Now we must talk financial equality now.
And you wouldn't believe in that. I saw one of the videos, or I believe one of the last videos he did before he died. You wouldn't believe what he stated concerning other nations actually coming into the country and getting money.
What was it?
Well, that's basically, it's been a while since I saw it.
He was talking about eventually what we were doing through this desegregation was opening it up where other people can now co-opt us and take our communities over. What we have less now than we had before the civil rights bill was passed. It was total infiltration. And then his last words were, I'm afraid, amongst his circle, I'm afraid that I have ushered my people into a burning building. And they killed him. They were like, you know what? We're going to memorialize him with that dream. Because as long as Negroes are dreaming, we'll stay in control. Because we're the woke ones. You Negroes dream. Y'all let us right in with civil rights. We let the abortions clinics in. We let the regentrification in. We let the nations come in with all the different religions. We let them to the point where now our people today don't know up from down, left from right. And see, and that's why I'm like, you know what? That's why we having this evening, Gaja, just a logical conversation, a nation without a spiritual foundation, because we've been looking in the wrong place. We must unite under the God who put us in this condition. And that should be our singular focus first. Okay? Let me tell you, every lawyer we see today that comes out of the Jewish community, every doctor, they grew up. They were born and grew up in a position first to understand the religious strength that comes with being unified as a people. And they take that out into the workplace.
Exactly.
They take that out into they use their entrepreneurial mind and all that because they first had that foundation spiritually. And if anyone tried to attack them, automatically they know, regardless of how they feel amongst each other, they know how to circle the wagons based on them coming up with that belief in one God, one religion. Whether or not it's false or true isn't the point. The fact that they are united to protect it is what we should be looking at.
Yeah, I was going to mention just on that point, even if they decide later to become non-religious, because in that world, you got a lot of non-religious Jewish people as well.
You got atheists.
But they still hold to those values, those religious values that they were taught as they were younger.
Listen, you have Jewish atheists who still take full advantage of their fraternal position in the synagogue, their family's position in the synagogue. So we've been looking the wrong place. We've been looking at, where's our banks? Where's our this? Where's our that? No, the question should be, where's our God?
I mean, this was something, Elder, for me that years ago when I just came into the truth, this is what sparked me. When you were the one that brought it out to me, saying, listen, everybody else has a God, has a religion. What do we believe in? You line up 5 Israelites together and ask them who is their God or what nationality you are. You're liable to get 5, 6 different answers.
Yeah.
And going back to Peace FM, it was the prime example. You had a bunch of Negroes in there with about 7 religions fighting each other, not realizing why the thing wasn't working. We can't serve the other gods without serving the people who made the gods. How the hell can we serve Allah and be over the people who made Allah the idol? How? Are you crazy? How can you now be above the people that made an idol? And if you're Muslim and you're listening, Allah is an idol.
Hey, Gadja, on that point real quick, there's a few things I want to bring out too, because Cedra is looking at you. He's getting very angry right now. He's turning. He's about red, right? He's beat right now. He's beat red. He's looking at you, and he's not feeling good right now because we're about to expose him. But before we go there, Elder Gadja, on your point, right?
Yes.
On your point, like I was mentioning, is that it's deep that we never looked at that one thing. There's a miniseries out on cable. It's called, I think what Harlem Godfather with Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, I believe that's.
Oh my goodness! Did you see that yet?
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh my God! It goes into Elijah Muhammad, how they began to undermine Malcolm. But this is one thing that stood out with me. How the Italians had a code amongst each other. And that code allowed them to overrun Harlem over Bumpy Johnson. Even though Bumpy Johnson had control, they were united as Catholics. And they were just using Bumpy Johnson as a proxy to sell dope and to kill our people. Another thing that was being dropped is that the Arabs and the other people that could set up in our neighborhoods and all that, no matter the Italian shops, they was actually sneaking in our sisters in the back, using our sisters as bed, quote unquote, wenches and all that. They do this in our community with the mosque, the Arab mosque, their restaurants, and all that. Some of us, you got to have some conversations with some of our people who are strung out on drugs, and they'll tell you their main customers are the Gentile nations who are amongst pillaging off of our children, who are on drugs and strung out and all that. And you would think that you have a mosque, all this religion, that the neighborhood would have cleaned up already. But no, they get low price pleasure.
Yeah, and the Arab
as part of their religion.
Bring the drugs in. When you look in the UK, that's what they do. They own the ports, they own the ship. They got the cousins who is the immigration officer and the customs officer. Yeah. So they're bringing in the dope and they're putting it. The coke is in our communities. And like you say, yeah, that whole religious structure, it was never meant for our people. Exactly. It was meant to hold them up to keep us down. Exactly. But hey, one scripture real quick. Go ahead. Matthew 12:25. And Yeshua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. So if we here right now, like you said, with the houses where we have no understanding of who our God is first and foremost, then we'll cleave to anything. I remember, back in the day, we used to do martial arts, and then we want to put the Chinese garms on and act like we're Oriental because we're studying kung fu and all that, and that was a straight up result of lack of identity, of lack of self and God. You with me? And that's what these people understand. And they understand that if, speaking of the UK, when you talk about the mosque, the Jamaican guy over there was married to an Asian woman from the Middle East. And she slept with one of the other Asian guys, and nothing came of it. And then he was like to me that, listen, if that was me sleeping with another man's wife, it'd be Sharia law. And I'm like, well, brother, if you see that and understand that, why are you still here with this garbage? You with me? How can you come into the situation yourself and think that you're going to be above the people who created an idol? How are you going to be? And it's like, check it out. It's like having this is to bring it right down to like a layman's term. I make up a story and tell somebody about the story, and then that same person who I made the story up and told is trying to come and tell me how the story went. How am I looking at this person? You're an idiot. I gave you a lie. How can you come back to me and be over me with the lie I gave you?
Exactly. And what I wanted to bring out, Gaja, and bring it into this is that I don't understand. Well, I don't believe that it is we as a people have ever looked at this logically to bring a singular focus to our condition. And do it and say, well, okay, what's the singular solution? We can't start nowhere if we can't unite spiritually. We have to decide amongst us what stays and what goes spiritually. And we have to build on that foundation.
That constitution.
Exactly. All that, we must pull our money together. So I can't pull my money together with someone who will have a doorway to let the enemy back in to destroy. And I'm speaking spiritually, in a spiritual sense. We must first unite under the correct God. And if your God is correct, bring it to the table and show us how we will benefit like the other nations have benefited under their religions. Show me. And don't talk about, the African religion and all that. Hey, let me tell you, the Africans, the Gentiles are taking their turns right now with all the African chiefs. They're raping all the rich resources out of the earth right up under the Africans. So don't tell me that we must go back to our African heritage when it's not even happening there on what you call the so-called motherland.
That's right.
Okay, so you can't say be a Buddhist because they already got that on lock, right? So you're going to try to be what they have already perfected through thousands of years, which will automatically have you as a spiritual servant.
That's right.
Under them. They already got everything that's on lock. Okay? Don't say be an Egyptian because our God, and I'm going to go there in a moment, told us that we as a people had to leave the Egyptians to serve the living God. And I'm going to go there. Now, some people would ask, well, we were Israelites before, and look at our condition. We had the Bible, and look at our condition. And you know what? When they bring up that point, I will have to be in agreement with them. Yes, we had the Bible, but we didn't follow it. Yes, we have the laws, and we didn't follow it. See? So now the conversation can be had. Why don't we unite together and get the benefits from actually seeing what happens once it's followed? Unless it points out a sin or something evil you are in agreement with. And if it highlights that, you're not someone we're looking to unite with anyway without repenting. But at least the Bible and the laws allow the conversation to be had. Okay? And which we can now decipher, look through and see who agree, who disagree, to know who to build with. And with those under a law, make a code. Okay, here's the code. Here's the code now that we have an agreement under the law. How to enforce that law according to the Most High. How we deal with one another. How are we supposed to deal with the Gentiles? Because I'm not saying let's not do business with the Gentiles, because the Israelites did business with the Gentiles.
That's right.
But keep in mind, the business we did with the Gentiles were on Israelite terms. They were on our terms. They were on our God terms.
God.
See that? Now, let me finish reading this real quick where it says, this was an occasion, the counterfeit picture, Elder Rawchaa, and I'm going to bring you right in. Just hold tight for me, okay?
All
right. Okay, go ahead, Elder Lawya.
Verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
The devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
And the invention of them, the corruption of life.
The Romans invented this image to deceive us. Read.
For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world.
Come on.
And therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning,
Rodrigo Bogia,
when he hath made an image of his son, of his child, soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices.
So with the false image of the guy you see before you, and the Gentiles don't deny who this guy is, he's Cesar Borgia. He was an actual man. He had nothing to do with Christ. He wasn't the Son of God. He had nothing to do with the bloodline of God's people. He had nothing to do with Christ at all. He was a man that the conquerors, the colonizers used to deceive the children of Israel who were being colonized in the New World and other areas in which we were being re-educated. Read.
Verse 16. Thus in process of time, and along with the image came ceremonies and sacrifices.
Ceremonies and sacrifices, all Babylonian religions. Traditions and sacrifices. Christmas, Easter, Mass, Thanksgiving, name it, on and on and on. Saturnalia, which was Christmas, Sunday worship. With the false image came the Roman holy days. So some people will say, well, even black people will say, well, I'm going to put down the white image because we all know that Christ wasn't a white man. Okay, that's good. That's a start. But are you willing to put down the religion that came with the false image and follow the religion in the Bible? Okay. Are you willing to put down the paganism? Because the false image wasn't the only thing prophesied, pastors, that they would do. It was also prophesied that they would have a brand of religion with the false image. Come on.
Verse 16. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law.
It was kept as a law, read.
Engraven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. Verse 17.
Come on.
Whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off.
Come on.
They took the counterfeit of his visage from far.
They took the what?
The counterfeit of his visage from far.
Counterfeit, brothers and sisters, mean fake. Visage means face. They took the fake face on your screen, Cesar Borgia from Europe, from far,
and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent as if he were present.
To flatter the papacy, the throne of Rome. The Bible prophesied this thousands of years before they put up the false image. Go down to the 21st verse.
Verse 21. And this was an occasion to deceive the world.
They used this image against us to deceive the world. They didn't use this against the Chinese, against the other people, because Chinese people have Buddha. They're not going for that. So who were they? Who was their target demographic? The children of Israel that were scattered for their disobedience against the God of the Hebrews, against the God of Israel. Their target population, they didn't go all over in Asia and try to convert all of China. Even when you go into the East Indians that come over here, they come over here with their original Babylonian religion. The white man didn't go through there and try to enslave East Indians and have them change their religion. Why? Because all of the Gentiles' religions are the same at the core under different languages. It's all Babylonian. So their target population was our people, the people who was taken down in 721 BC from the northern kingdom, who was scattered as a curse for disobeying the law, statutes, and commandments, and Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in Judea, when the Romans sacked Jerusalem, which led to us running into Africa in different parts, and it led to us being enslaved in a new land that our fathers didn't know, as was prophesied from the prophets, out of the prophets. It was an occasion to deceive the whole world. Read.
For men serving either calamity or tyranny did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name. Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of God.
So not only did they put up a false image and deceive the world, with it comes error in the knowledge of God. Like you have some people out there claiming they defending the Bible and the doctrine of Christ and all that, claiming we're defending Christianity. How can you defend Christianity upholding paganism? You sound ridiculous. What are you defending? A lie. Because Christ wasn't a pagan. The disciples weren't pagans. The Hebrews weren't pagans. So how can you use the Bible to teach paganism? What are you defending? And I see so many people, well, it's all about salvation. You don't even know about salvation. How can you teach salvation to a people? Our people need salvation. Our people need it. But yet you're bringing the filthy poison of the pagans within our communities to destroy them even more. With your Christian paganism, not realizing demons comes with those religions. Rituals, which allow gateways and doors of demonic possession to come within the presence of our community. When you worship other gods through paganism, you open a doorway to hell. And that's the part they don't get. Well, we don't go into that identity. We don't go into that. in order for us to get out of this condition, we have to begin to identify with the people God put in this position. And they're the children of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Read on.
But whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called they peace. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites, they kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled.
Exactly. So now, since we took on the religion of a lie, everything that the Bible, everything that we hold sacred, traditional wise, has also become a joke and a lie.
Mm-hmm.
See? By us compromising with paganism, all of the laurels and the morality that the Bible teach now can also get compromised.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's how it works. If you're going to begin to believe a lie and start fusing or believing paganism by using the Bible, then family becomes a lie too, because the Lord was in defense of family. The Bible was in defense of it.
Mm-hmm.
So now you compromise all of it by upholding the lie that was taught by the Gentile nations. And God said this would happen to our people. Read.
But either one slew another traitorously, or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood.
Blood. Now this is the end result. Go on.
Blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption.
Sound like our neighborhoods, don't it?
That's right.
Go on.
Unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good terms, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder.
Changing of kind is transgender, folks.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord said, if we start changing God and the truth of God and his son and bring in paganism, all of this would be a result of it. Eventually, all sin and wickedness would begin to fester and deteriorate us at the core of our existence and within our communities. God said they knew this would happen to us. It was in the Bible. Now, we have a lot to go into, so we're going to leave that there real quick. Let me put this criminal down real quick. He's burning in hell right now. Cesar Borgia, the devil's son. And then I showed the Book of Mormon earlier. Let me get that real quick. So as soon as you open up the book, the devil. Then on the front of the book, another testament of Jesus Christ. And all through the book, it's telling us to be black. The color God made us, the children of Israel, is a curse. So when you look at your little black baby is a degenerate, a defect, according to Joseph Smith. But and then I expect the Gentiles to be foolish because the Lord says he will put a foolish nation over us. They don't make any sense anyway. What I don't understand is our people falling for it. And not relating our degraded state with our agreement with their foolishness. We're not putting two and two together here. You never relate one to the other. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. When the enemies bring in another religion in your community, they're bringing in another God that's against yours. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. And we got our people simple as a day old, living on the same block. One Egyptian got an Egyptian tail hanging out of his head. You got another guy talking about he's Nuwabic or more. You got another one saying he's an Hebrew Israelite. You got another one saying he's Christian. You have another one saying I'm atheist. You have another one saying, well, I'm about the money. You got another one saying, well, I'm Jehovah's Witness, I'm Mormon, I'm this, that, and the other. But you don't see this activity. Another one, Nation of Islam. But you don't see that that's the core issue to our problems. when it's not like this in any other community within the world, folks. I've been to the Middle East. I've been to Europe. I've been to the Greek islands. I've been all over the earth. And it's not like that anywhere. If you're in the Greek islands, everyone is following the same Greek Orthodox religion. Everybody. And it's uniting them as one. It's not whether or not it's right or wrong. There's no division amongst them. Mm-hmm. You don't see that's the core issue? Mm-hmm. So someone asked, well, what is right? Let's go to that scripture that I brought out when the Most High was about to deliver us from Egypt, the first one. And then I told Elder Lawya before I began this, I don't want people that follow Egyptology and other religions to think that when I pull this out, this is me attacking your religion. I mean, attacking you personally. Put it that way. I'm not attacking you personally. Because why? Even our God in the Bible told us to give respect to the Egyptians because the Most High, they were our brothers who allowed us refuge for a time in the land of Egypt. So it's not about attacking Egyptians personally. But that's just not the religion for us. Mm-hmm. It's not for us. It's heathenistic. The Most High said he made us a peculiar people, a special people, unique. And we weren't to follow the ways of the Gentiles. It doesn't matter how long they've been doing it. And some people say, well, they've been doing it longer than the Bible. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing wrong. It's not right because it's been happening longer. Let's read it real quick.
The book of Exodus, chapter 5, verse 1. And afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go.
Let my people go.
That they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
That they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness. So this is a particular God. He's not like the God of the other nations. And guess what? We're not allowed to bring this God amongst the Chinese in Chinatown right now. We're not allowed to take this same God, put a mitre on, and teach in the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. We're not allowed to go to Utah with this same God with laws that say love your neighbor and all that. We're not allowed to go to Utah and teach Mormons this. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? Imagine me going in and says, I have found the true religion for the white man. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm Elijah Muhammad IV. Matter of fact, I'll tell you, a white man can't go into a white neighborhood and says, I've found the religion that will unite the white man. Mm-hmm. He'll get shot. Only amongst us you can have somebody, I have found the religion for the black man. Mm-hmm. Simple as the day's old. It's only us as a people who would give our ear to anything. So it sounds like, according to the Bible, we must be the lost sheep of Israel. We must be the lost sheep because we fall for any religion looking for a spiritual home. Jewish people don't have that problem. Chinese people don't have that problem. Okay? And I'm just using them as an example. Let's read it.
Verse 2. And Pharaoh said, Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice to let Israel go?
Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice to let them go? This is the Egyptians. Read.
I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go.
So even though the Egyptians were worshiping many gods, Anubis, Osiris, they was down the line, many gods. It was like, I never heard of your God. He's not worshipped in Egypt. So for those that are worshiping Yoruba, Egyptology, all the different African, different types of religions and all that, the Egyptian, the Pharaoh knew of those gods. But it wasn't right for us. That's what you have to understand. Our God was like, they didn't even know our God. It didn't work for us. He says, I don't know who the God of Abraham. Who's that? He's not up on the walls here. He's not one of the statues in the temple. I will not let you go. Read.
Verse 3, and they said, the God of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice unto the Lord our God.
We will sacrifice unto our God. So we had an entirely different tradition than the Gentile nations, than the Egyptians. See? And the other nations know this. I was over in the Middle East where the Arab says, we know you're Bini Yaakov. And I'm like, Bini Yaakov? And then the guy translated, the Egyptian, yeah, you're the sons of Jacob. You're the sons of Judah. He says, all of the Middle East know that you are the sons of Judah. I'm like, well, y'all done set up shops all in my neighborhood. You care to tell our people who are suffering in our neighborhoods what you've just told me? They can't do that. It's like there's some type of code. If they come over here, they must stay quiet concerning this. They can only agree to oppress us and to make money off of us and to use us. Or they will not be allowed visas. They come in this community and tell me in the community what they told me in the Middle East of who we are. United States would revoke their visas, folks. They'd be sent back to the desert. Come on.
The God of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice unto our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword.
That's crystal clear. That's crystal clear. Now,
so Moses understood that there were repercussions for the Hebrews not worshiping the God of the Hebrews.
Exactly. There's a repercussion. Now, it's about, I hear this word out there all the time, Lawya. We need to be on code. But then whose code? Whose code? Moors? Fruit of Islam? So they would like to use a broad term, black, without getting to the core issue here. No, we can unite because we're black. No, we can't. Not if you're a thief, robber, drug dealer, sorcerer, witch, warlock, an adulterer, a fornicator, a child molester. How can it? That's what's going to unite us, being black? Where's the law as the code? That's where we have to start first, by first uniting and identifying what God we serve. What God can we serve together? Before we talk about business, politics, anything, I have to know that you and I, we are together praying to the same God. And on top of that, as a result of that God, what are the do's and don'ts concerning us and how we deal with the other people on the outside of us? What did our God say when it comes to doing business with Gentiles? Okay. What did our God say if there's a crime? How do we handle that amongst us? Or do we allow the Gentiles to just benefit from criminality, the same criminality they've always funded within our communities? How do we get indemnified if someone is hurt or harmed instead of the prison complex benefiting from our downfall? See, you can't come to none of these answers without first uniting with the God who gave us the answers for how to run a nation. And I went back to Egypt because that's out of Egypt is when we became a nation and were given laws to govern ourselves. So if you want to talk about wealth, how to keep our families together, how to salvage what's left, we must go back to when God first made us a nation and fall under his code and pray to him together. Now we're on the Sabbath, and after the sun go down, we can make deals on the Sabbath, just like the Jewish people do on the Sabbath. Soon as the sun go down, they're talking about how they're going to take more of the cut out of our community from our people's behind. Soon as the sun go down, how are we going to cut this part of the community they're living in? How are we going to destroy them on there? How are we going to degrade them more so that we can undercut? Because if we teach them to disobey their God, eventually we can take their substance. So soon as the sun go down, but they may not like each other, but they can agree to take you down. Mm-hmm. And they know where to find each other. Mm-hmm. The same way when you go and you talk about what's going on, you go to a doctor's office and say, well, what's going on with me? I'm going through this. My family's going through this. And he says, and he'll look at you, a Jewish guy. And you know, I don't blame him. He's supposed to deal like that. He'll look at you and say, yeah, I know a good lawyer. And he'll call the guy that he played golf with, who he just seen in the synagogue, and they'll take a cut. They all know each other. They're able to sustain their wealth and power worshiping the same God, and we know who that is, but they're united in it. They're able to do that. See? They make those phone calls and referrals. You thought it was a referral, but it's generational nepotism. We don't have nepotism amongst us, because we're not united under a God. We don't have a place where on our leisure time, when we serve and pray together, we're all by default in the same place at the same time. That doesn't exist. Folks, jewels are being dropped tonight. That don't exist. And it's not as if we don't have real life examples right now. Mm-hmm. They learned the spirit of nepotism, generational wealth, and all that by stealing our Torah. They read our Torah and took some of that as a code amongst each other, and through that have built generational wealth. Mm-hmm.
And check this out.
Go on.
Whether we agree or not with those who decided, I guess what was the 70s, to move to Israel, so on and so forth. Yeah. The closest thing that we have of a black community that, came together and decided to honor to some degree the laws of the Bible, the Torah, or what have you, is a community who decided to keep the Bible as their foundation.
Which was Ben Ami.
Exactly. You don't have that amongst any other so-called black religious organization. It can only happen with the laws of the Bible.
They were able to, even though they went off upholding this guy as a Messiah, mm-hmm. they went the route, and dealt with the persecution. But still, by them holding to the law and claiming to be the people, mm-hmm. made a public proclamation of what you can receive if you unite under one idea politically mm-hmm. and spiritually. That was the example right there. Mm-hmm. Because why? The Gentiles have a code too. They can only touch, initially, they could only touch the disobedient amongst our people. If you become disobedient, that's the God you serve. Well, guess what? They're higher on the totem pole with that God than we are. Mm-hmm. So by us yielding our souls to sin, automatically they become our masters. That's how it works. So there's a code. Even Satan couldn't touch Job without first asking the Most High to take that hedge off of him. What was that hedge? That code, that law that kept Satan from touching him. See? So there's a code there. But if we begin to sin or go off code, now we're bare, out without protection. We went from under the Lord's hedge. And now Satan and his ministers over the synagogues, over the mosques, over the Buddhist temples can now have their way with our men, women, and children. 515-605-9327. You have anything else, Lawyer, before I open up the lines?
No, sir. I'm not sure if you still want the Egyptian scripture.
Yeah, so that no one can take personal, know that I don't have anything personal against any other people. Let me tell you, I have friends today who are Egyptian. Okay, I had one Egyptian guy who learned English to learn what we were teaching. He didn't know what I was saying, but he followed me and he was looking at me. He was a guy that drive people around. His name was Wazim. But he said it was something going on that he couldn't understand, but had to learn English because it was something going on every time we came in the room spiritually. And when he asked, why were we traveling? And I told him, well, soon we'll be back. You know what he said after learning English? We knew Judah was coming back. You're our brother. Also, he said, when the world changes and God restore you again, remember me. In Egyptian. See, because what you don't understand, the Egyptians who are Arabs, who deal with Islam, they don't just believe in Allah. They still worship many gods. And they know of the God of the Hebrews over there. Huh? I wouldn't be surprised when it's all said and done, we'll be in the wilderness, baptizing these brothers and sisters. Because guess what? There was a lot of the Ephraimites and Judites who fled into Egypt and still there that need to be saved. Folks, this thing is way bigger than you would know. And I wanted to say, let's have a logical conversation, a nation without a spiritual foundation, so that we can put all those futile, ridiculous arguments to the side and say, we're going nowhere if we don't agree with what God we serve together first. We're not going anywhere. Let's not talk about anything, finance, sustaining. Let's not even talk about what the other nations are doing because at least they understand the value of nepotism. They're not going to build you before they build their people first. You're going to get the crumbs from their table. Mm-hmm. You have to understand the value of that. I'm not saying you can't get anything. Okay? But we must be able to first, Elder Lawyer, set a table for you to get crumbs off of it.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
And the value of nepotism is understanding first, nepotism is having the power to give to your people and prefer them. Like even the gospel, it says we prefer the brothers over others. That's nepotism. Every other nation understands that but us. But it's not nepotism because I'm black and you're black. It doesn't work that way. It's what God you serve. Let's read this about the Egyptians, what the Most High said concerning the Egyptians.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse number 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite.
Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, which is a white man.
For he is thy brother.
For he is thy brother. So we don't hate white people, folks. Yes, the Bible identified what the white man would do. Yes, Esau. But he identified what would happen if Israel broke his law. By default, only one or two can rule, Esau or Jacob, because we both came out of the same womb and we both have the bloodline of royalty through Isaac. So the Most High through Isaac didn't just give Jacob a blessing, he gave Esau a blessing too, that once we sin and the yoke is broken off of Esau, he would rule in the end of the world. So I don't hate white people because I understand that he's doing what he can to sustain his kingdom. Okay? I don't agree with his tactics and his actions, but I don't hate him because God said he would do that. I'm more so about teaching about Christ and preparing that hedge so that we're protected. Our people can be protected by Satan's devices, by Satan's ministers who created a new brand of Christianity and saying, well, listen, our people must leave the pagan Christianity and come under the Christianity of Christ, according to the Bible, so that you're protected from the ministers who are over Christianity, connected directly with the serpent. Read it.
Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian because thou wast a stranger in his land.
And the Most High gave us a law and says we're not to hate the Egyptians. So when you hear brothers who know they're Israel talking down in a derogatory manner on white people and black Africans and saying, I hate Egyptians and all this other stuff, you don't realize you're going against the same law you claim to uphold. The Most High didn't give us this knowledge for that, because you're going to put a stumbling block in front of those brothers who don't know that Egyptology isn't right. You have to let them know, I'm in agreement with you as a brother, and I'm not going to come down on you personally, but understand the God you are attached with is going to separate me from being able to really help you. Mm-hmm. Okay, like that. Because your God is going to have you going one way, and my God is going to have me go another, and we'll be standing in place while the Gentiles are just raping, robbing, and pillaging us. I don't hate you, but we tried it the Egyptian way. And our God took us out of Egypt and gave us a code. See? I don't hate Egyptians. The Most High said we're not supposed to hate them. It's just like not eating pork chops. It's a law. And you have so many Israelites who are out there teaching don't realize we're breaking laws by spewing hate. When it's in the same law that you can't hate them. Take up the practices they've learned from us and apply it to our communities now. They learned this from us. You see how they're able to regenerate and take stuff? They learned that was all in our laws on how you're supposed to deal with the nations. By preferring your people first, who follow the law. Now I can go in business with you. Why? Because we're under the same code. You know that what our God does to those who steal from their own brother or who commit adultery. You know what our God does. So now we have a code to hold each other accountable to. Now we can do business. See, and this is why the Jews and all that can do business together. Because there's a code they have taught in the synagogues. We don't have nothing but nonsense going on. There's no business deals or nothing going on in our churches. A bunch of nonsense in our community. So you want to know the keys? We're dropping the keys tonight. The keys always existed, the Bible. You have something, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Just one last point.
Yeah.
As you were mentioning, when we speak about this code amongst us, and in relation to the scripture we just read, not only does that code teach us how to operate one with another, but part of us not hating the other nations is also, let's say we do have a community in which we're operating in business, learning how not to murder each other, learning how not to sleep with each other's wives, learning how not to steal from each other. Those laws, the way the nations benefit is that, listen, the nations also, we don't murder them. We don't steal from them. We don't sleep with their wives and things of that nature. This code goes throughout not only our communities, but it also has a profound positive effect on other communities.
Exactly. So the code is not just amongst us. It's just focusing on the lost sheep first to make sure the lost sheep understands how to unite according to the Bible, according to our ancient traditions. And then, of course, there's a residual effect. The whole earth benefits now.
That's right.
But our problem is we try to align ourselves with everyone else calls when they're already in positions of power. We're for everyone. We're locking arms with everyone calls. I'm for the women. And you locking arms with a witch, a pagan, someone that's passing laws to kill your kids in abortion clinics. Well, I'm a feminist. I'm for women. You're uniting yourself with the letter people's movement. With every other movement, not realizing that we should align ourselves under our God. If we're not aligned under that movement, we're not moving anywhere. We're not aligning ourselves with anyone.
That's right.
We only have 11 minutes before the phones cut off. I end up going over. I'm sorry, but this was a well-needed topic. And of course, we're going to open up the lines, 515-605-9327, 515-605-9327. And it's a nation without a spiritual foundation. We're going nowhere unless we unite under one God. And yes, the God of the Hebrews. Now, when you want to know what his name is, well, he told Moses his name. And I'm perplexed that there's so many arguments arguments when it's in Hebrew, clearly the name he gave Moses. A nation divided against itself cannot stand. (515-605-9327). We have 8 minutes before the line cuts out. And then I'm just going to take these calls and then we'll digress. I had a long day today. And I'll digress and we'll have the conversations that's needed tonight. And then we'll pick it up next week with men going God's way. We're going to see if we can find some MGTOW guests to come on so we can understand what's going on within our communities with that particular movement. And we're going to create a Bible movement, a God movement with men going God's way. 575 area code.
Hello, Shalom.
Shalom. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church.
Okay, I just wanted to say, how do we survive? We stand in lines. We have no money. We want to get to the other side of always having nothing. We want to be accepted by taking what is offered through innocent-looking religions and God-fearing governments and humanitarian programs set up for our survival. Just a statement.
Okay.
And I also just wanted to say one last thing was that my two children, we never go to doctors. We don't take medicines at birth. We never took the vax shots. We didn't have them in public schools. But at birth, the nurses were overbearing to at least have the vitamin K shot. And I finally gave in and said yes. Now my children are working and they found that they had all the vax shots given to them. So I'm like totally upset that because I probably said yes to that vitamin K shot, they said okay and gave them all the shots. I say give an inch and they take a mile. So I just want everyone to know about that they don't take a shalom.
Hey, I'm going to take what Jesus took. If they Christian, I'm going to be like, you believe in Jesus? That's what I'm going to use their terms. What shot was Jesus giving out? Or what shot was he giving the disciples? What shot he took? I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
We need more of them home birth ladies. I forget what they're called.
Midwives. Yeah, but they're out there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's go down the line. And I wanted to say before I go down the line, yes, we have a new Hebrew and Bible Academy. And I have some giveaways this coming Sunday. I'll be giving away some Josephus. And we're going to be giving away some CDs. And we're going to be making soon some of the teachings that have brought many people into the knowledge of the Most High available through CD and DVD. We're going to start pressing those where you can order them online and be able to get them. But this week, we're going to be giving out a few Josephuses for those, the long tenured people. We're going to have a drawing inside the academy where those that have been in the academy, we're going to pull your name out and send you signed Josephus CDs, everything. And we're going to do that this coming Sunday. We have a very great lesson, man. We going into the books now. The historical books. Hey, man, if y'all missed this academy, man, I'm going to tell you, we've gone into history like never before. Anyone in this academy will tell you this has been the best one by far as information goes. What's our lesson this Sunday, Lawya?
Well, I'm thinking about it. We may have to discuss it, but we may have to discuss it. But I was thinking that maybe we could do this later in the academy and do something else this coming week. I was thinking about, usually we do a breakdown of modern Christianity.
Yeah.
I thought that instead of doing a breakdown on modern Christianity, instead focusing on a lesson which highlights the teachings or the doctrine of the original Christians, so that by default, anything outside of that becomes highlighted as the negative or the antichrist doctrine.
Okay, so instead of going from the angle of this is what the Christians teach and this is where they're wrong.
Exactly.
We can go into the doctrine of the disciples and show the true doctrine, which will highlight what's wrong within Christianity altogether.
Exactly.
By itself.
Exactly.
If it's not this, like Johnny Cochran said, if it don't fit, you must acquit. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
We're going to do that. We're going to bring the true doctrine of Christianity before the devil came in this coming Sunday. If you would like to be a part of that, send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com, or you can go to historytimes.org or gatheringofchrist.org, and you can deal with the enrollment. Just hit the tab for Academy. All right, let's go down the list. We have a lot of people here, and I said I wasn't going to be too long tonight, but you know how the spirit goes. But we needed this discussion. This discussion is needed. 501 area code, and after that 515. Be respectful of those who are behind you. We have a lot of people to get through. 501 area code.
501 area code, 515. Be respectful of those who are behind you. 501 area code. 501 area code, 515.
We're going to come back to that 515. Then after that, I did 515, right? We go into 336 area code, and subsequent to that, 336. Shalom.
Shalom. How are y'all doing?
Blessed by the Most High. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you.
All right. So on this topic of a nation without a spiritual, what was it?
A nation without a spiritual foundation.
A nation without a spiritual foundation, yes. So one of the things that was brought out, which the whole thing was beautiful, by the way. All praises to the Most High.
All praise be to the Most High.
One of the things that was really brought out that was excellent was how our people are able to fall for almost anything that is offered to them as a people. And as a quick point, I wanted to say that the reason why this is the case with Israel is that they are, as the Bible says, they are a sheep without a shepherd. And one of the things that you learn about sheep, like with natural sheep, is that whenever sheep have nobody leading them or guiding them, they are liable to go anywhere that looks interesting to their eyes.
Yeah.
You know, they're one of the most gullible of the animals, where they just scatter around anywhere, which is why Christ said that my sheep hear my voice and another they won't follow. Because when you're under the doctrine of Christ, you adopt that nature of being stable. You adopt that spiritual foundation. So we're never going to be stable as a people until we come into that
60
foundation.
seconds.
The Bible says one Lord, one faith, one baptism. And until we come under that agreement, we're always going to be unstable.
Yeah. Well, it's going to right itself before it's over. But when I say it right itself, I don't think we'll ever see that solidarity that's needed in our communities according to the word. But there's a remnant that's going to come out of it.
Right.
Who will see the benefit of it. And that's what the gospel is for. And I'm going to place you on hold, is to make sure through the word of God, through the word of the Most High, we eventually get to that remnant. 340 area code.
Hello?
Hi, shalom.
Hello, elders?
Hi.
Hi, shalom. Hi.
10 seconds.
So this topic, hi. So this topic that I was talking about, what I was thinking about what you said about pulling bricks out of our kingdom.
Yep.
And by bringing these, like the nations bringing these various gods and worships into our community, it's like aiming to postpone our kingdom, to delay the judgment of their gods, and at the same time take rulership and keep us in a perpetual slavery, keeping us one step forward, 5 steps backwards.
Yeah.
And so we're not only like remaining perpetual slaves, but we're like, our servitude is getting worse and worse, as seen from like the evidences of our like oppressed communities. And the attempt is to push us back into what they might see as the good old days of Rome, where Malachian sacrifice of women, men, and children went on, and it was easy for warlocks and witches of the society to take hold of us.
Yeah.
And I think that they truly are delusional in thinking that they can like stave off the judgment. And it's almost like they're trying to destroy all of Israel in hopes of making the Most High's word come back void or overthrow the kingdom or the throne. But they're so delusional. And this is maybe the foolishness under Satan that they're thinking, but they can't, because the Most High's word doesn't come back void, and the imaginations that they have, like it says in Wisdom of Solomon, it's just way off track. So that's all I had to say tonight.
Yeah.
Concerning this.
And thank you, sister. Those were some good points. But one thing that should be okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. Hold on. I'm sorry. What did you say that last piece?
Oh, no, I was just saying bless you and praise the Most High. They're not going to succeed.
Oh,
that's all.
They're not. All right. Thank you, sister. Bless you. Okay.
Okay, bye.
One thing I want to say, and as a people, we have to begin to come out of that. I'm the perpetual victim mode. These nations can only do what we allow them to do to us. Their mosques will close down if we didn't go to their mosques.
That's right.
Their pagan temples would close down if we didn't go into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the answer to it. First, understand that the nations and the nations' gods have never benefited us. So I think we have enough data now within our communities throughout the generations, to actually come to a what you would call an intelligent, an educational conclusion. Right? I think enough data have been accumulated through time that teaches us that following the other nations' religions doesn't benefit us.
Mm.
Right?
Or maybe we just, as you mentioned earlier, we don't associate social ills with spiritual religious decisions. That connection, I don't think our people as a whole have made that connection.
Yeah, but I'm glad we're having this conversation tonight, because maybe this will stimulate parts of their understanding going forward.
Right.
They have never even, like you said, even related our downfall and our continual perpetual destitute state with the religions they've been serving by the other nations.
Right. And the only time they somewhat do that, it's when you have people who come and say, well, Christianity is the reason we're in this condition, so I'm going to turn away from the Bible. That's the only time you really hear someone associating religion with social
when it's turning away. Exactly. But hopefully this will provoke a better a better answer going forward.
Absolutely.
Okay. Maybe it'll provoke a change in how we reject the Gentile nations. Like if what the Gentiles taught us isn't true, I might as well become an atheist. I might as well believe nothing now if what the Gentiles taught us isn't true.
Right.
Maybe this conversation can break that also.
Absolutely.
346 area code. Shalom.
Hey, Shalom, Elder. Elder Lawya, Elder Rawchaa.
Shalom.
Hey, how you doing,
Shalom.
Mike? Shalom.
I'm doing all right. Man, I'm so happy that y'all went into that Mormon thing, man. Man, praise the Most High. All of that was in the spirit. Because I started to call you last week about some stuff, but I just said, now never mind. He ain't harping on it for some reason, and man, you already brought it out. I mean, man, that was man, all praise to the Most High. But not to be long, just wanted to let people know, man. A lot of people sometimes don't realize why y'all have to go into stuff like that, because it tell you in Titus, the 1st chapter, that there's a lot of unruly and vain talkers and deceivers amongst the circumcision.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of these doctrines are, some of these people have actually used to follow the church. And because of some offense or something, they didn't want to bring it forth, and now it caused them to leave, and then all of a sudden now they start teaching these weird doctrines. Like, I know, I mean, I ain't gonna say who it was, one brother came or was offended for some reason, started coming out saying the 144,000 is some bugs.
Yeah, I remember that.
All because they just didn't want to deal with no offenses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like this though. I could have been brought that out as far as I've been at. I taught this on the street since against the when Mormons used to come up to our speakings. I used to teach out of the Mormon books and whip them up the street with their own book. Like go up the street, get on a plane back to Utah, young man. You're in the wrong sphere right now. I know your book. I know that your Joseph Smith is the devil. Okay, go up the street. I would just have my Bible next to the Mormon book and go through all of it and just rip them apart. I'm like, this is how you think about black people? Go up the street somewhere.
Right.
All right, because this is how you really think. You are a serpent, because you're not going to come right out and teach that you believe black people and the way we look is a curse from God. And see, our people easily offended. You understand? It's a shame, because the Bible tell you a wise man love reproof. And sometimes when you correct our people, pride won't allow them to take the correction. The devil will set in to where they'll become an enemy of someone who's always fought for them and have always loved them.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, here's an example. Last night, Mike Allah, I was looking at that video, Mitri Down. And man, something just overcame me, because when I seen that Mitri Down video by Quadam, I looked at it like 2, 3 in the morning, and those brothers that were in it, I'm like, man, these are some gifted brothers. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at that video and the impact it can have on the youth and all that. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, what beautiful, gifted brothers of the children of Israel. And then to look back at it and see all the other things and see that people, and it says by and by people are offended and all these other things. And I think what people forget, and I'm not just talking about that, everything else, where brothers start going off and doing their own thing, that the only reason we started this and continue in it is our love that have always continued for them. Even if we tried to correct people, it wasn't because we were against them or hated them. We work to bring forth the kingdom and be here as a beacon to encourage brothers and sisters to stay the course. And it's a shame, because so many people have fallen into diverse doctrines to a degree where, and I'm not talking about them, but other people out there, because their pride won't allow them to just come through and learn the simplicity of the gospel. They'd rather go into something outlandish, because why? If they don't go into something outlandish and they hold true to what we've been teaching and acknowledge that the teaching is correct, then if you're not around anymore, Then it comes to question, if you know it's true, why aren't you out there on the front line fighting with your brothers and sisters? So they have to find a doctrinal point to disagree with, to say it was a lie the whole time, to justify them turning away. And the Bible talks about that. Because their conscience won't allow them to leave unless they can agree that the whole thing was wrong anyway. But I'm gonna tell you something about the staying power. Even till this day, we stand unwavered with the same doctrine we've been teaching since the Most High gave us the understanding. And we're still here. And see, and that should be a sign for brothers that this is not just about some talk or belief. That the Most High Spirit is in this ministry to help. We don't have everything, but we're doing our part. And it should be counted for something. And that should be counted for something. That brothers can see, brothers, they know that we don't just believe, we know that the Most High have given us the understanding and the truth we're teaching. And it's become, let me tell you, it's become a strength for so many other people to know that regardless of what they go through, there's still some people out there standing on Christ. I just wanted to put that out there. And now to a degree where people, what's going on with our people when we fall back into believing that the Book of Mormon is a valid book for God's people? I mean, how far backward? I mean, are you kidding me? I was 25 years ago. We knew that was a clown book. I'm gonna push you on hold. All right, thank you, brother. We'll talk soon. And yeah, I'm working on volume 2 of Music with the Purpose now. So, all right, so I'm gonna talk to you about that soon. I'm working on it now. We have a lot of songs, young man. That's Micah Allah. He's the one. You seen the video we put up on Make a Nation Like Abraham?
I didn't see it yet. I got to check it out.
Yeah, Make a Nation. Yeah, Make a Nation. Nate remixed it. Nathaniel, the brother in England, he remixed it, and he did a sing-along video, Make a Nation Like Abraham. It's on Truth Genre.
Oh, okay.
Check it out, all right? He's Mike Allah. He does the majority of the music, or almost all of the music you hear for the Music with the Purpose album. We'll talk soon. I'm gonna call you up. I did some preludes today, but yeah, I'm working on the volume 2 now. All right.
Okay, cool.
All right, Shalom. Jacob's crying is coming soon. All right.
That's the joint right there.
Oh yeah, it's coming soon.
Yeah, Jacob crying. I need that. I need that one.
It's coming soon. All right, 843 going down the line. Shalom.
Hey, what's going on, brother? Shalom.
Shalom.
Hello? Can you hear?
Yes, we here.
Oh, okay, man. Man, wonderful work you guys doing. All praise to the Most High. At work yesterday, this goes with the end of the lesson when you was talking about how the Egyptians and all of them, they know who we are.
Yeah.
Yesterday I worked with a brother from the Congo, and it's just me and him. We're the only 2 brothers on the line out of like 21 people. And going into work yesterday, I ran into him on our way to the gowning room, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm only telling you this, but I'm leaving. I'm going to another shift starting Sunday. I'll be going to daytime.
Okay.
And so the brother looked at me and he said, oh man. He said, man, now I don't know how I'm gonna make it. And I looked at him, I was like, what you mean? He said, man, the only reason that, I have the energy and that, I feel like I can make it through the shift is because I know you're here. So I was like, whoa. I said, okay. In my head, I'm like, man,
yeah, that's that light.
That made me feel good. Yeah, that made me feel good. And And that's when it hit me. I said, man, I wonder if this brother knows, because he's 26 and he's been in the States for maybe about 4 or 5 years. And I was like, man, I wonder if this brother knows, you know, if he knows the truth about us over here. And so, Elder, I'll lie to you not, man. I was on the floor, and I started to go holler at him about it. And I said, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait till.
Okay, you got to speed it up, brother, because there's a lot of people behind you. So let's get to it. What happened?
Yeah. So I end up running into him going on break, and I asked him. I said, hey, I said, you from the Congo, right? He said, yeah. I said, you Hebrew? He said, no. He said, I'm not Hebrew. I said, oh, okay. I said, do you know about us over here? What do they say about us over here? He said, we learned that in school. He said, all the slaves that were taken to the territories of the white man, he said, those are the Hebrews. He said, we learned that in school coming up. And I was like, whoa.
That's big. So what?
Yeah,
so this is what you need.
I had to call my.
Okay, we can't. We got other people behind you. Okay, but thanks. That's some good information. What I need you to do is, if you can, take your phone out and give that testimony of what they taught in the school, and we'll put it up. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. I'm gonna reach back out to the brother and talk to him some more.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you, brother.
All right, man.
All right.
Hey, appreciate it, brother.
All right. Thank you for your testimony. Yeah, they know. See, they know in the old world. They won't tell you that in the new world, but the whole old world knows. Who we have next here? 214 area code. Shalom.
Shalom, Ever.
Shalom. You're live with the Gathering of Christ Church. We're going down the line.
Praises to the Most High. I just kind of want to reiterate what the last brother was saying. I was just wondering, it's amazing how he just said that, because I know with us being in servitude in Egypt, I know that they teach that history. They have to teach the history of Egypt, as well as the quote-unquote Americas teach us the histories of America. So it was just amazing to me that he stated that, because I'm sure, and when you were saying that brother was telling you don't forget about him, I'm definitely sure that they know who we are. And it's just amazing to know that. It's just a reassurance. You know, it's I guess it's comforting, I guess I should say, to know that the awareness of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because it's just, I don't know exactly how to explain. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I talk to the children. I don't know exactly how to explain exactly what I'm saying, but I guess it's just overall a reassurance of who we are, just knowing that they have been taught about who we are as a people, and it's very much appreciated. Also, I've been, this is my first time on. I've been trying to get on for so long, but my phone does not allow me to call in for some strange reason. And I'm not going to be long-winded, Elder, because I don't want you to cut me off. But I just asked my son, let me use your phone and see if your phone allows me to come in. So that I'm grateful for. And another point, just a quick point I want to make is I just feel like the love for one another, I am so adamant about loving one another and being genuine with one another, because I heard you state the other day that when people come into the truth, for some reason, we think that, oh, we're in the truth and everybody's genuine and let's just hand our children off and, just do whatever we're doing. But we all should be cautious of that. And that's another reason why I feel like we should be very diligent about learning one another and getting to know one another and not being fake with one another. So, so we can come together as a family.
Absolutely,
so I'm not going to be long-winded, as I said. That's all I needed to say.
All right. Thank you, sister.
And praise the Most High. I greatly appreciate you guys.
All right. Bless you. I'm going to put you back in the
Shalom.
queue. Shalom.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is confirmation, as the sister was saying. Well, it is good to sometimes receive that confirmation, as the sister was mentioning, as far as when the other nations admit, even though the Most High revealed it, it's sometimes good to receive that confirmation when other nations come forward and state that, well, we knew this the whole time. The only question is, well, if you knew it the whole time, why didn't you tell this to our people when you came and set up your shops and set up your religious temple and set up your mosque, wherever the case may be? But nonetheless, it all comes in due time, and we praise the Most High for the little information that does come out to confirm what we've been teaching for a long time. Moving on to the next call. This is the 562 area code. You're live on Blog Talk.
Hey, Shalom, elders. This brother Adam, man, from out here in California. So I just wanted to hit on, out of the time that I've been walking and dealing with this truth and laboring, I found out that a lot of our people, just based on the standpoint of the conversation, no spiritual foundation, they want a God. This is what I've come to find out. They want a God that conforms to them and not the other way around. They don't want to conform to God. And I feel like that a lot of the nations just understanding that by nature we're very spiritual and we need that to thrive off of, whether we do wickedly or righteously, that they try to present these, why we fall for these other spiritual things or other religions, I should say, is because whatever a person may be dealing with that they don't want to get out of, if they see that within that religious institution, then they kind of lean towards that. You know what I mean? Like the marijuana thing. If you want to deal with that, then they got this for it.
Well, you know what? I'm in agreement with that, but let's take it to the next level, because I used to say that, and there is some merit to that, but there's something else that's going on. And I think what can be highlighted as a constructive place to grow from, what can be highlighted here is that our people, not that they're doing a religion just to justify the behavior they're dealing with without correcting themselves. What they notice, I have to put it on hold, not too much noise. What they've noticed here is that the other nations do all these other things, but still are able to be acknowledged as someone spiritual within their religions, or someone that believes God regardless of their faults, because they're able to see the Gentiles who, like the Chinese, were shipping opium and doing all that, but they were still, quote unquote, blessed dealing with their religion, even though they were selling drugs to us and the opioid heroin and all that. So we looked at that and saying, well, there's a place in which we can operate without being perfect and still be accepted by God. And I believe we use those examples of how the Gentiles have benefited dealing with those religions, even in sin, not realizing that we're held to a different standard than we can't do what the Gentiles do and get away with it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the piece our people have missed. That they see the Gentiles doing all these other things, but are still religious and benefit. Mm-hmm. But they are held. But what our people never understood is we're held to a different standard. They can get away with a lot of that because the law wasn't given to them. They're not accountable to the law of the Hebrews. We are. The Most High didn't put the curse of servitude on the nations for disobeying his law. He put it on us. And I think that's the piece our people are missing. Mm-hmm. Not that they just want a religion that fit with what their beliefs are or some of the sin that they would like to get excused. And I used to say that, coming up, and I started to realize our people usually mimic the examples given to us by the Gentiles. Like when I seen During the drug epidemic, the crack cocaine epidemic, and every drug dealer had a picture of Scarface up. Really, those movies were teaching the hood how to sling rock. It was those movies. And how to set up codes, because they didn't learn those codes within the community. There was nothing taught on how to deal with certain codes in certain instances. And it was the Gentiles. So I believe that's the issue more so. We're following the ways of the Gentiles, believing we're held to the same standards in judgment as the Gentiles.
That's what other examples. When we get to certain levels in the corporate world, the entertainment world, we look at what the people around are following. They're Buddhists, they're Kabbalists, and now we start to adopt those things, believing that that's what makes us or keeps us successful like the other nations.
We equate their religion with their success. Just like when Jay-Z went in and seen Rick Rubin dealing with all these different types of weird Kabbalist religions and all that. And you relate their religion with their success, but it doesn't work for us like that.
That's right.
We're not Edomites. We're not Ishmaelites. We're held to a different standard. Okay. 917 area code. Shalom.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, man. Yes, Elder Lawya and Rawchaa, man. I gotta say, you two are, very, very sharp, and like when it comes to interpreting and translating the Bible. I really, respect what you guys are doing.
All praises be to the Most High.
I had a question. Yeah, I had a question concerning this has nothing to do with the topic, but in Genesis 1:26, where it says, let God. Okay, so the way it seems like God is one God, but where in 1:26 Genesis, it says, "Let us make man into our." So I'm wondering who is us and who is our?
Okay. So
I mean, it's
plural. How long have you been following our teachings?
Well,
I'm just asking, how long?
I came across you guys maybe about, I'll say about 2 years. I've been checking you guys on
Okay,
YouTube.
all right. So, when it says, let us make man in our image, because this is the first thing we teach in the academy when it says, that God created the heaven and the earth. But then we go down to the 26th verse. It says, let us make man in our image, right? So that means that God isn't singular, it's plural, right?
Yeah.
So the image of God is what? What's the image of God?
So so you're saying it's plural. I mean, it sounded like it was a singular God.
Okay,
but you're saying it's plural.
No, it's not singular, because when you look in the Hebrew, brother, that God is Allahayim. Yum, Y-A-M on an end of a Hebrew word, or Elohim. When you hear him or Al-Aliyum on the end of a Hebrew word, it's like putting an S behind a singular. So in the English, it says God created the heaven and earth. But in the Hebrew, it says gods created the heaven and earth. Now, when you want to know what gods, it tell you the image of God. What's the image of God? When you go into, get Genesis 5:1 real quick.
Genesis chapter 5, verse number 1.
Read.
This is the book of the generations of Adam, and the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them.
So we know the image of God in the beginning. Let us make man in our image. He pulled female out of male, right? So if you want to know who's the us, Paul spoke of this in the epistles, stating the Godhead as the first family. Let's get it real quick. Read it. For the invisible things.
Romans chapter 1, verse number 20.
Come on.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world.
From the creation of the world.
Are clearly seen.
So we can clearly see who created in the beginning, the invisible. We can clearly see them.
Being understood by the things that are made.
Being understood by what was created. Male and female created he them. Read.
Even his eternal power and Godhead.
Even his eternal power and Godhead. So when it says, let us make man in our image, that's the Godhead, the first family. That's the us. Okay. Now let's go to 1 John 5 and 7. And you notice in that same chapter, subsequent to that, Paul began to reprimand those that are dealing with what you would call today man with man and woman with woman behaviors. He started to reprimand it because it's against the original Godhead of how all things was created, male and female, which was the original Godhead. Now, the problem is in the Christian church who's teaching the Trinity, they believe that the Holy Spirit is a he because it says he in the book of John. But that word in the Greek isn't he or she, it's a kinos, which means that one. So the Romans were following three male deities and turned the Holy Spirit into one with their new philosophy of pagan Christianity. If you want to know the Godhead, the example is what was made. Family, male, female, life. 1 John 5 and 7, read it.
1 John chapter 5, verse 7.
Read.
For there are three that bear record in heaven.
Now, if you bear record, you was there where? In the beginning. Read.
The Father,
the
Word, and the Holy Spirit.
And the Holy Spirit. That's the Godhead, the first family. That's the God in Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, the Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Got it?
Okay. Man, yeah, so like I say, man, you guys, are pretty sharp when it comes to to the Bible, and definitely I'm looking forward to registering in the academy,
man,
so I can learn some.
Brother, let me tell you,
because I hear Elder Lawya saying he teaches Hebrew.
Brother,
I'd definitely like to learn some.
I'm telling you now, this has been the most in-depth, historically sound precept academy to date. It have never been this in-depth. I mean, it's to a degree where I believe the Most High is having us drop everything we have to drop, knowing that soon they're going to close the doors where none of this will be allowed. That's how much information is coming out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a library here, and I am opening the spiritual clip. I'm not going to have anything left in these academies. And don't forget that, like lawyers say, we're constructing new lessons from week to week and then putting them out that way. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to put you on hold, brother. History Times, go to historytimes.org, brother. It's only $50 to get in for a month. Try it and see. And see what happens. All right?
Well, all right.
All right, okay. And I want to say this, right? Someone sent me a video where there was a brother who put our name in a title. Now, I'm not going to put the brother's name out there because I guess he wants to get recognized using the work of the Gathering of Christ Church, and I guess that's what he did it for. Someone sent me a video in which earlier I seen this where a brother showed a video of a bunch of encyclopedias. And he said, and it says, encyclopedias that was meant for the GOCC. And he put on the video, Elder Lawya, a sister contacted me and sent me these encyclopedias because he tried to reach out to the Gathering of Christ Church and couldn't get a response like she wanted to, and eventually sent the encyclopedias to me, right? Now, before I do anything, right? We have encyclopedias here, Jewish encyclopedias, right? And I didn't know a sister was trying to give us encyclopedias. I apologize for not getting back with her in a timely manner to a degree. And I'm glad the brother was able to get the encyclopedias. But I'm dealing with Elder Lawya, the spirit behind why he put that video up, to say, listen, since they didn't get it, she sent it to me. And to put that out there like that was deep in itself. Why? Because the Bible says, thou shalt not covet what is thy neighbor's. And sometimes people are being tested out there. I don't know how many times someone called me about something about IUIC or another group to try to give me something or anything where the Bible tell you the gift spoileth the heart. First of all, if I intended to give it to someone, I would have never given it to someone else. But she didn't know any better. But for him to take it knowing it belonged to someone else and put it up there as a badge of honor was even deeper. If someone called me and say, this is what I have for IUIC, and they sowed some spirit in you to have you send that to them, I would be afraid to accept it. Like, well, why are you talking to me when you know it belongs to that brother? The Most High put it in your heart to help that brother with his ministry, and you're going to give it to me? And see, that's what I'm talking about with codes. He thought he would put that as a badge of honor, that he was respected enough to receive something that should have been given to the gathering of Christ Church. And I just shook my head because I have the same encyclopedias right there. And I'm glad the brother got it, but he didn't have to tell anyone. And I'm putting it out there, folks. It's a shame. And I'm looking at the video and I'm like, why would he do that? Because he's young. That's why. He don't understand when the Lord says, thou shalt not covet what is thy neighbor's. I would have told that sister, if you want to learn under this church, the doors are open. That's what I'm here for. But I refuse to accept you sending me someone else's property. If it belongs to those brothers and the Lord, and believe me, many people from different groups and all that, I've had scenarios like that where people said this and that and the other and wanted, I'm like, no. Give it to, that belongs to them. What do I look like accepting something you just told me belonged to someone else? And claim that, and then claim that I'm serving the living God who teaches us in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not covet. What we are missing amongst our people is honor. Honor. It's dishonorable. And see, I don't blame her because she didn't even know any better. But if you out there teaching, you're in a position of authority and people trust, they trust that you're going to do the righteous scenario, that if they're wrong, you'll correct them, even if it means not accepting something. There's no honor. I tell brothers who come in I used to study with this brother, but I found that y'all teach the truth. Listen, you didn't have to tell me about who you studying with. What are you telling me that for? Mm-hmm. So what are you, the verifier? You go along everything and you're the barometer that decides what's the Most High's? What are you telling me about somebody else for? Are you going to come in this work, or are you going to be in the middle, or you're going to, because if you're talking to me about those brothers, it wouldn't be too long before you with another group talking to them about us.
Exactly.
Dishonorable. If those brothers sowed anything in you, the Most High says, one man planteth, another man watereth, but it's the Most High to give the increase. You don't have to talk bad to get in with me. You can't brown nose me. You can't put down another brother to say, well, I'm with the Gathering of Christ Church. That's wrong. I just wanted to put that out there going into this thing today. A nation without a spiritual foundation. That's all I have to say about that. Why would you put our name in a title saying, look what I got? It should have been the Gathering of Christ Churches because the sister couldn't get in contact with them. It was sent to me. Boy, I must be the man. A joke. Last call. I got 2 more calls. 574. I only got 1 more call. 574, last call. Shalom.
How you doing, Elder Rawchaa?
I'm blessed by the Most High.
How you doing, Elder Lawya?
Shalom.
I think as far as the spirituality thing, our people are stuck on the mammon kick that we've been given, with oppression and everything. As far as, us being oppressed, and we're willing to get whatever is out there. And right now is a money situation, and our people are willing to do whatever it takes, and our mammon has become our spirituality.
Yeah, I can see that. But the Bible says, the Bible says you can't serve the Most High in mammon. So Christ have now drew a line in the sand. Because what happens? Because the system is they're about to take away the money. They're going to institute the mark of the beast. And what side will you choose at that time? But go on, last point.
Right. As far as we know knowledge puffeth up. So when I first came into the truth, I had to accept all my wrongs, all my sins, put them before my face like King David. And then 1 Corinthians 4-6, I basically I have to get with that on a daily basis to know where I come from, to know where I want to end up, and that's in the kingdom.
Okay. All praise be to the Most High, brother. And just come with us.
Sir.
There's a lot of work. Hey, the harvest is plenteous, but the labors are few. Brother, you're needed for this kingdom.
Right.
Let's work. Men's going God's way. And we're going to talk about that next week, how you can actually help stand up as a young man and bring forth this kingdom. And anything we have, I'm willing to sow in you, brother. Whatever that is, because it belongs to you.
I've talked to you before.
Okay, it belongs to you.
I've talked to you before. I'm still on house arrest, so as soon as I get off, I'm straight to Chicago.
Oh man, they're putting out your business. It's okay, brother. You'll be released soon. All right, shalom. All
right, all praises.
Hey, we all on house arrest. It's called Babylon. Let's see here. We only have 1 more call, and then I'm gonna let the elders say their piece. Who this? 336 area code. Shalom. Okay. Oh, cocaine. Well, Lord have mercy. What's going on there? Is a party? 340. Lord, what's the name of the title of this video again? Shalom. 340. Last call. Okay, well, that's it. Elder Rawchaa, you have anything else to say?
No, man, that's the man. Beautiful broadcast. And, I'm missing you guys, man. Just sitting here listening to the conversation, making me, miss being around,
Oh, man, we miss you, brother, but I'm working hard. We're going to see you soon, brother. Believe me.
Yeah, man.
Do what you got to do. I got to send you some information. I spoke to a brother today whose mother is over there in Jamaica, and she needs some proper herbs and all that for her kidney. So I spoke to her today. I'm going to send you the details. We're going to have the brothers. We're going to have the brothers from the church in Jamaica go and see her and help her out.
Okay, no problem.
All right?
Yeah, man, that's not a problem.
Okay, brothers and sisters. Hebrew and Bible Academy. As you can see, we was able to break that thing down in a couple of seconds, that Hebrew and Bible Academy, and you better get in it. There's a lot of information there, and we put a lot of time and study to fill you with the word on a a scholarly level. And keep in mind, folks, it's not just teaching the Bible itself in the Hebrew itself. The news and the details and the commentary, it's not just a class. It's an experience, folks. So be a part of this experience. It's nothing like this on the earth when it comes to this Hebrew and Bible Academy. And get in, and surely you'll benefit from it. With that, I'm going to say shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. Sin not. We will soon see Zion. Shalom. Thank you, Elder Lawya. And thank you, all the elders that came in today. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out here anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.